Ryan Carter stood in the shadows of his ex-girlfriend's lavish engagement party, watching the woman he once loved laugh brilliantly beside another man. He came here to prove he'd moved on, but a phone call from his young daughter made him realize he already had. What he didn't expect was meeting Olivia Bennett in a quiet garden corner, a powerful CEO whose perfect life was crumbling behind her flawless smile. One honest conversation between two strangers pretending to be fine would change everything. But when their secret connection is exposed, they'll both have to choose the life that looks perfect or the one that feels real. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The champagne glasses clinked like tiny bells throughout the Sterling Hotel's rooftop terrace, and Ryan Carter wanted to break every single one of them. He stood near the edge of the gathering, partially hidden behind a decorative column wrapped in white roses, watching Madison Pierce, his ex-girlfriend of 3 years, glow under string lights as she showed off her engagement ring. The diamond caught the light with each animated gesture, throwing little sparks across her face. She looked happy, genuinely happy. Ryan took a long drink from his glass of water. Not champagne. He'd stopped drinking 8 months ago, right around the time Madison had stopped returning his calls. "You actually came." The voice belonged to Marcus Webb, one of the few people from his old life who still talked to him. Marcus appeared at his elbow holding 2 champagne flutes, then noticed Ryan's water and grimaced. "Right, sorry, man." "It's fine," Ryan said. "No, it's not. I should have remembered." Marcus set both glasses on a nearby table. "What made you decide to show up? I thought for sure you'd skip this." Ryan had asked himself the same question about 50 times on the drive over. His daughter Lily had been the one to find the invitation, partially hidden under a stack of mail on the kitchen counter. She'd held it up with both hands, reading it carefully with the serious expression she got when she was trying to understand adult things. "Is this the lady from the pictures?" she'd asked. Ryan had exactly 3 photos of Madison left in the apartment, all of them shoved in a drawer Lily had discovered while looking for batteries. He'd been meaning to throw them out for months. "Yeah," he'd told her. "That's Madison." "She's getting married?" "Looks like it." Lily had studied the invitation for another moment, then looked up at him with those dark eyes that were too knowing for a 7-year-old. "Are you sad?" The question had caught him off guard, not because he didn't have an answer, but because he'd realized the answer had changed without him noticing. "No," he'd said, surprised to find it was true. "I'm not sad." "Then why do you look sad?" "Smart kid. Too smart sometimes." "I guess I'm just thinking about how things change," he'd said. "Madison and I used to be together, and now she's marrying someone else. That's a big change." Lily had considered this, then nodded. "Like how Mom left and now it's just us?" Ryan's chest had tightened. Lily's mother, his ex-wife Sarah, had walked out when Lily was 3, and they hadn't heard from her since. The divorce papers had arrived via her lawyer. No explanation, no goodbye to their daughter. Just gone. "Kind of like that," he'd managed. "But we're okay now, right?" Lily had asked. "Just us?" "We're better than okay, kiddo." She'd smiled then, satisfied with his answer, and Ryan had made a decision. He'd go to Madison's engagement party. Not because he wanted to win her back or prove anything to her, but because he needed to prove something to himself, that he could stand in a room full of people who'd watched his life fall apart and hold his head up, that he'd survived the worst and come out the other side still standing. Now, actually standing in that room, he was questioning the wisdom of that decision. "I needed to see it," Ryan told Marcus. "To make it real, I guess." Marcus nodded slowly. "Closure. Something like that." "Well, you've seen it. Mission accomplished. Want to get out of here? There's a sports bar 2 blocks down. We could catch the game, grab some food." "I'll stay a little longer," Ryan said. The truth was, leaving now felt like retreat. He'd come this far. He could make it through one party. Marcus clapped him on the shoulder. "All right, man. But if you need an exit strategy, just give me the signal. I'll fake a work emergency or something." "Thanks." As Marcus wandered back into the crowd, Ryan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw Lily's name on the screen. For a second, panic spiked through him. She was supposed to be at his sister's place, safe and settled for the evening. He answered immediately. "Lil? Everything okay?" "Hi, Daddy." Her voice was small and scratchy. "My throat hurts." Ryan's grip on the phone tightened. How bad? Like a little sore or really hurts? Really hurts, and my head feels hot. He was already moving toward the exit, weaving through clusters of well-dressed guests. Okay, sweetheart, I'm coming to get you right now. Is Aunt Jen there? Yeah, she gave me medicine, but I want you. I know, baby. I'm on my way. 20 minutes, okay? Okay. A pause. I'm sorry you have to leave the party. Ryan stopped walking. Around him, people laughed and clinked glasses and celebrated. None of it mattered. Don't be sorry, he said, his voice soft. There's nowhere I'd rather be than with you. You're my whole world, Lil. You know that, right? I know. She coughed, and he heard his sister's voice in the background, soothing. Aunt Jen says I should let you go so you can drive safe. She's right. I'll be there soon. I love you. Love you too, Daddy. The call ended, and Ryan stood there for a moment, phone still pressed to his ear, letting the noise of the party wash over him. This was why he'd survived the past few years. Not because he was strong or brave or any of the things people said when they were trying to be kind, but because he had Lily, and she needed him, and that simple fact had pulled him through every dark moment when giving up seemed easier. He pocketed his phone and turned to navigate back through the party, planning his exit route. That's when he nearly collided with someone coming around the corner. Sorry, he started, then stopped. The woman in front of him was stunning in the way that made people stop mid-sentence. Dark hair pulled back in some kind of elegant twist, a black dress that probably cost more than Ryan's monthly rent, and eyes that were currently wide with surprise at their near collision. But it wasn't her beauty that caught his attention. It was the expression on her face. Underneath the polished makeup and practiced smile, she looked absolutely exhausted. My fault, she said quickly, stepping back. I wasn't watching where I was going. No harm done. Ryan moved a step around her, but she was already moving in the same direction, and they did an awkward shuffle dance that would have been funny under different circumstances. She laughed, but it sounded strained. Sorry, I'm a mess tonight. You look fine, Ryan said automatically, then realized how that might sound. I mean, not that I was looking, I just meant, it's okay. She waved off his stammering. I know what you meant, thank you. An awkward silence fell between them. Ryan needed to leave, should already be in his car driving to his sister's place, but something about the way this woman was standing there, like she was hiding just as much as he was, made him pause. Are you trying to escape too? She asked suddenly. What? The party. She gestured vaguely behind her. You have that look, like you'd rather be anywhere else. Ryan couldn't help a small smile. That obvious? Only to someone who's feeling the same way. She glanced back toward the main terrace, and something in her expression shifted. For just a second, the polished facade cracked, and Ryan saw something raw underneath. Fear, maybe, or desperation. I needed air. All those people, all that noise. It gets to be too much sometimes. I get that, Ryan said. And he did. After Sarah left, he'd spent 6 months unable to go to the grocery store without feeling like everyone was staring at him, judging him, wondering what he'd done to make his wife abandon their family. The woman looked at him then, really looked at him, and Ryan felt oddly exposed, like she could see past the decent suit he'd borrowed from Marcus and the confident posture he was trying to maintain, straight through to the scared, struggling single father underneath. I'm Olivia, she said, extending her hand. Ryan. He shook her hand, noting the firm grip, the callus on her index finger that suggested she spent a lot of time holding a pen. Nice to meet you. You too. She released his hand but didn't move away. How do you know Madison and Trevor? Madison and I used to date, Ryan said, then immediately regretted the admission. He didn't owe this stranger his history, but Olivia just nodded. Ah, that explains the escape attempt. What about you? Trevor's company does business with mine. I'm here out of professional obligation. She said it lightly, but Ryan heard the weight behind the words. This wasn't just a party for her. It was work, performance. That sounds exhausting, he said. You have no idea. She rubbed her temple with one hand, and Ryan noticed the slight tremor in her fingers before she lowered it. Sorry, I don't usually complain to strangers. Sometimes strangers are easier, Ryan offered. They don't have expectations. Olivia looked at him sharply, something flickering in her eyes. That's... yes, exactly that. His phone buzzed again and Ryan pulled it out to see a text from his sister. Lily's fever is 101.2. She's okay, but asking for you. Drive safe. I have to go, he said, pocketing the phone. My daughter's sick. Oh. Olivia's expression softened. Of course. I hope she feels better. Thanks. Ryan started to leave, then stopped. He didn't know this woman, would probably never see her again, but something about the lost look in her eyes made him turn back. For what it's worth, you don't look like a mess. You look like someone trying really hard to hold it together, and that takes strength. Olivia blinked, and for a second Ryan thought she might cry, but she pulled herself together, that polished mask sliding back into place. Thank you, Ryan, that's kind of you to say. He nodded and headed for the exit, already thinking about Lily and what he'd need to grab from the pharmacy on the way. He didn't look back, didn't see the way Olivia Bennett watched him go, her carefully constructed composure finally cracking as she sank onto a nearby bench and put her head in her hands. The drive to his sister's place took 18 minutes. Ryan spent the entire time second-guessing every decision he'd made in the past month. Taking Lily to the park when it was too cold out, letting her have ice cream 3 days in a row, not making her wear a hat last Tuesday. Ridiculous thoughts, he knew, but they filled his head anyway because that's what fear did. It made everything feel like a mistake. Jennifer met him at the door with Lily already bundled in blankets, her small face flushed with fever. Hey, kiddo, Ryan said, scooping her up carefully. She was getting too big to carry like this, but she was still his baby, still small enough that he could hold her against his chest and feel her heartbeat. Daddy, she mumbled into his shoulder. You came fast. Always will. He looked at his sister over Lily's head. Thanks for calling me. Of course. Jennifer handed him Lily's backpack and a bottle of children's fever reducer. I gave her a dose about 30 minutes ago. She should probably see the doctor tomorrow if it doesn't break. I'll call first thing. Ryan adjusted his grip on Lily. Sorry for cutting out early. Jennifer waved him off. How was it? The party? Fine. Weird. I don't know. Ryan thought about Madison's happy face, Marcus's concerned hovering, Olivia's exhausted eyes. Doesn't matter now. No, Jennifer agreed, reaching out to brush Lily's hair back from her forehead. This is what matters. In the car, Lily fell asleep almost immediately, her breathing heavy but steady. Ryan drove carefully, checking her in the rearview mirror every few seconds, watching for any sign that she was getting worse. The fever reducer would kick in soon. She'd be okay. She was always okay, because he made sure of it. He had to. Back at their apartment, a small 2-bedroom on the 3rd floor of a building that had seen better days, Ryan got Lily settled in her bed and sat beside her, one hand on her forehead, monitoring her temperature. The fever was already starting to break. Thank God. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, a text from Marcus. You disappeared, man. Everything cool? Ryan typed back one-handed. Lily's sick. Had to bail. Thanks for the invite. Marcus's response came quickly. No worries. She okay? Will be. Good. Hey, random question. Did you talk to Olivia Bennett at all tonight? Ryan frowned at his phone, briefly. Why? She left right after you did, looked upset. Trevor's pissed because she didn't even say goodbye to him or Madison, just vanished. Ryan stared at the message, remembering the tremor in Olivia's hands, the crack in her voice when she'd thanked him. He'd thought she was just tired, stressed from work obligations. But maybe it was more than that. Don't know what to tell you, he typed. We only talked for a minute. Yeah, I figured. Just weird timing, that's all. Ryan set his phone down and looked at Lily, who was sleeping more peacefully now, her breathing evening out. Whatever was going on with Olivia Bennett wasn't his business. He had enough to worry about. But as he sat there in the quiet apartment listening to his daughter breathe, he couldn't quite shake the image of Olivia's face, that moment when her mask had slipped and he'd seen the person underneath. Someone drowning, someone who needed air. He knew that feeling. 3 days later, Ryan was standing in line at the pharmacy when he saw her again. He almost didn't recognize her. She was wearing jeans and a sweater, her hair down around her shoulders instead of pulled back, and she looked younger somehow, more real. She was studying the cold medicine aisle with the kind of intense focus usually reserved for life-changing decisions. Ryan grabbed his prescription and headed for the exit, planning to slip past without saying anything. They'd had one conversation at a party. That didn't make them friends. But as he walked by, Olivia looked up and their eyes met, and something in her expression shifted from distracted to surprised to almost relieved. "Ryan," she said. "Hey." He stopped, juggling the pharmacy bag and his keys. "How are you?" "I've been better." She held up a box of nighttime cold medicine. "I think I caught whatever's going around. My daughter had it last week. Fever, sore throat, the works. She okay now?" "Yeah, she bounced back fast. Kids do that." He shifted the bag to his other hand. "That medicine works pretty well, by the way. Helped Lily sleep through the worst of it." Olivia looked at the box in her hand, then back at him. "Thank you. That's helpful." Another awkward silence. Ryan started to say goodbye, but Olivia spoke first. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "For the other night, I shouldn't have unloaded on a stranger like that." "You didn't unload. We just talked." "Still," she set the medicine box in her basket. "I was in a weird headspace. Work stuff. It's been a rough few months." Ryan could have left it there. Should have left it there. But something about the way she said it, rough few months, resonated in a way he couldn't ignore. "You want to grab coffee?" he heard himself ask. "There's a place across the street. Nothing fancy, but they make a decent cup." Olivia blinked at him. "Now? Unless you need to get back?" "No." She said it too quickly, then seemed to catch herself. "I mean, yes, coffee sounds good. Just let me pay for this." 20 minutes later, they were sitting in a corner booth at Maggie's coffee house, steam rising from their cups, the comfortable noise of other conversations filling the silence between them. "So," Olivia said, wrapping her hands around her mug, "tell me about your daughter." Ryan smiled. That was easy. Talking about Lily was always easy. "Her name's Lily. She's 7, brilliant, stubborn, and too smart for her own good most of the time." "Sounds like a handful." "The best kind." Ryan took a sip of coffee. "It's just the two of us. Her mom left when she was 3. He didn't know why he added that last part. He usually kept his personal life private, especially with people he barely knew. But sitting across from Olivia, seeing the way she listened without judgment or pity, made it feel safe to be honest. "I'm sorry," Olivia said quietly. "That must have been hard." "It was. Still is sometimes." Ryan traced the rim of his mug. "But we're okay. We figured it out." "You figured it out," Olivia corrected gently. "That's impressive, Ryan. Raising a child alone, I can't imagine. You do what you have to do." He looked at her. "What about you? Marcus mentioned you run your own company." Something shuddered in Olivia's expression. "I'm CEO of Bennett Industries. We do corporate consulting, strategic development, that sort of thing." "That sounds important." "It sounds boring," Olivia said, then laughed at herself. "Sorry, I'm not usually this negative about my job. It's just—" She stopped, seeming to struggle with what to say next. "Rough few months," Ryan offered. "Something like that." She took a long drink of coffee. "Can I ask you something, and you can tell me if I'm overstepping?" "Go ahead." "At the party, you said sometimes strangers are easier because they don't have expectations. Did you mean that?" Ryan thought about it. "Yeah, everyone else in your life has this image of who you're supposed to be. Strangers don't. You can just be yourself." Olivia's hands tightened around her mug. "And if you don't know who yourself is anymore? If you've been pretending for so long that you've forgotten what's real?" The question hung between them, heavy with implications. Ryan saw the fear in her eyes and recognized it. He'd felt the same way after Sarah left, when his entire identity as a husband and father of an intact family had shattered. He'd had to figure out who he was in the aftermath. "Then you start small," he said. "You figure out one true thing about yourself and you build from there." "One true thing," Olivia repeated. She looked down at her coffee. "I hate my life." The confession came out flat, emotionless, like she was stating a fact about the weather. But Ryan heard the truth underneath, the desperation, the exhaustion, the fear. "That's a start," he said. Olivia looked up at him, and for the first time since they'd sat down, she smiled, a real smile, not the polished one she'd worn at the party. "You're a good listener, Ryan Carter." I've had practice. 7-year-olds have a lot to say. She laughed, and the sound was lighter than before. They talked for another hour, the conversation flowing easier than it should have between two people who were essentially strangers. Olivia told him about the pressure of running a company she'd inherited from her father, the board members who questioned her every decision, the exhaustion of maintaining appearances. Ryan told her about working as a project manager at a mid-sized construction firm, the struggle to balance work and parenting, the loneliness that crept in late at night when Lily was asleep and the apartment was too quiet. Neither of them noticed the coffee shop filling up with the dinner crowd, or the way the light outside shifted from afternoon to evening. They were too busy talking, and then listening, and then realizing that somehow, impossibly, they'd found someone who understood. When they finally left, standing on the sidewalk outside Maggie's, Olivia turned to him. "This was nice," she said. "Really nice. Thank you." "Yeah," Ryan agreed. "We should do it again sometime. I'd like that." She pulled out her phone. "Can I give you my number, or is that weird? It might be weird." "It's not weird." Ryan handed her his phone and she typed in her number, then called herself so she'd have his. "There," she said, handing it back. "Now we're official coffee buddies." "Is that a thing?" "It is now." They said goodbye and Ryan watched her walk to her car, a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than he made in a year. She looked back once before getting in, waving, and he waved back. On the drive home, he tried to figure out what had just happened. He'd gone to get Lily's prescription refilled and ended up having coffee with a woman he barely knew. A woman who was clearly out of his league, living in a world he couldn't begin to understand. A woman who, despite all that, had looked at him like he was someone worth listening to. It didn't make sense. But then again, nothing in Ryan's life had made sense for a long time. He'd learned to just roll with it. His phone buzzed as he pulled into his parking spot. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for today. I needed it more than you know." Olivia Ryan stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. "Anytime. Feel better soon." Her response came immediately. "You too." He pocketed his phone and headed upstairs, where Lily was waiting with his sister, probably bursting with stories about her day at school. This was his life. Simple, complicated, messy, beautiful, real. But as he unlocked the apartment door, he couldn't help thinking about Olivia's question. What if you've forgotten what's real? He hoped she'd figure it out. Everyone deserved that much. End of part 1. The coffee meetings became a pattern neither of them planned, but both of them needed. It started with a text from Olivia 2 days after their first coffee. Just a simple message. Bad day. Maggie's at 6? Ryan had been helping Lily with her homework, struggling through second-grade math that somehow felt harder than calculus when his phone buzzed. He stared at the message for a moment, weighing whether this was a good idea. Meeting once was chance. Meeting again was choice. "I'll be there," he typed back. Lily looked up from her worksheet. "Who's that?" "Just a friend." "What friend?" "A new friend." "What's their name?" Ryan smiled at his daughter's persistence. "Olivia. And stop trying to distract yourself from the math problem. Is she your girlfriend?" "No, Lil. She's just someone I met who needed a friend." Lily considered this with the seriousness she applied to everything. "Okay, but if she becomes your girlfriend, I should meet her first, to make sure she's nice." "Deal," Ryan said, though he couldn't imagine it ever getting to that point. Olivia Bennett lived in a different world. This was just two people helping each other through rough patches. Nothing more. But when he walked into Maggie's that evening and saw Olivia already sitting in their corner booth, still wearing what was clearly an expensive work suit, but with her hair falling loose from its pins and exhaustion written across her face, something in his chest tightened. She looked up when he approached, and the relief in her eyes was unmistakable. "You came," she said. "Said I would." Ryan slid into the booth across from her. "Rough day?" "The worst." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I spent 3 hours in a board meeting being told that my vision for the company is too risky and not aligned with our core values, which is code for, you're a woman and we don't trust you." Ryan winced. "They actually said that?" "Not in those words. They're too smart for that. But I've been running Bennett Industries for 4 years now, and every single decision I make gets questioned, second-guessed, picked apart. My father ran that company for 30 years, and no one ever questioned him like this." "What did you want to do? The risky thing?" Olivia pulled a napkin from the dispenser and started shredding it, her hands needing something to do. There's a struggling community development project on the South Side, housing initiative, job training programs, resources for single parents. They need funding desperately, and we have the capital. I wanted to invest. But it doesn't generate immediate profit. The board wants quarterly returns, not long-term community impact. She looked up at him. Is it stupid? Wanting to do something that actually matters instead of just making rich people richer? No, Ryan said firmly. It's not stupid at all. Tell that to Gerald Hutchins and the rest of the board. A waitress came by and they both ordered coffee automatically. When she left, Olivia leaned back against the booth and closed her eyes. Sorry, she said. You didn't sign up to be my therapist. I signed up to be your coffee buddy. I think that includes listening when you've had a bad day. She opened her eyes and looked at him. How do you do that? Do what? Make everything sound so simple, like it's all just manageable. Ryan thought about the past 4 years, about coming home to an empty apartment and a confused 3-year-old asking where Mommy went, about the nights when Lily had nightmares and he'd held her while she cried for someone who was never coming back, about the shame of telling people his wife had left, seeing pity in their eyes, wondering what they thought he'd done wrong. It's not simple, he said quietly. It just is what it is. You can either let it destroy you, or you can figure out how to survive it. And you chose survival. I had to. Lily needed me. The coffee arrived, and they both wrapped their hands around their mugs like anchors. Outside, the evening rush was picking up, people hurrying past the window on their way to somewhere else. Can I ask you something personal? Olivia said after a moment. Sure. Do you ever resent it? Having to be strong all the time because someone else is depending on you? It was a dangerous question, the kind that poked at truths Ryan usually kept buried. But sitting across from Olivia, seeing his own exhaustion reflected in her face, he found himself answering honestly. Sometimes, he admitted, when Lily's asleep and the apartment's quiet, and I'm just sitting there wondering what my life would look like if Sarah hadn't left, if I could still be the person I was before everything fell apart. He paused, turning his mug in slow circles. But then I remember that person wasn't happy either. He just didn't know it yet. Olivia nodded slowly. I think I'm that person now, unhappy but pretending I'm not. So stop pretending. It's not that easy. I know. Ryan met her eyes. But maybe you could start with figuring out what would make you happy, even if you can't have it yet. She was quiet for a long time, staring into her coffee like it might hold answers. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. I want to feel like my life is mine, like I'm making choices because I want to, not because everyone expects me to. She looked up. Is that selfish? No, Ryan said. That's human. They talked for 2 hours that night, their coffee going cold and being refilled, the sky outside darkening from dusk to full night. Olivia told him about growing up as Bennett Industries' heir, being groomed from childhood to take over the company, about the pressure to be perfect, the fear of disappointing her father, the loneliness of always having to perform. Ryan told her about his marriage to Sarah, how they'd met young and gotten married younger, how parenthood had exposed all the cracks they'd been ignoring, about the guilt he still carried, wondering if he could have done something differently. You can't think like that, Olivia said. You can't control other people's choices. I know, doesn't stop me from trying to figure out where I went wrong. Maybe you didn't go wrong. Maybe she did. Ryan appreciated the support, even if he wasn't sure he believed it. What about you? Anyone special in your life? Olivia laughed bitterly. I haven't had time for dating. Between running the company and managing my parents' expectations and maintaining appearances, there's nothing left. She paused. There was someone a few years ago, Andrew. He worked in finance, came from the right family, checked all the boxes. My parents loved him. But you didn't? I didn't know how I felt about him. He was safe, appropriate. But when I was with him, I felt like I was playing a role. Like I was being the Olivia everyone expected instead of just being myself. She shook her head. I ended it eventually. He took a job in London. I heard he got married last year. Any regrets? Only that I wasted 3 years of my life pretending to be someone I wasn't. When they finally left the coffee shop, Ryan walked Olivia to her car. The street was quiet now, Most of the shops closed for the night. "Thank you," Olivia said, unlocking her car but not getting in, "for listening, for not judging, for just being honest." "Same to you," she smiled, and it reached her eyes this time. "Same time next week?" Ryan knew he should probably say no. These meetings were getting too comfortable, too necessary. But looking at Olivia's face, seeing someone who understood what it felt like to be drowning in your own life, he couldn't bring himself to walk away. "Yeah," he said. "Same time next week." Over the next month, their weekly coffee meetings became the fixed point both of them built their schedules around. Ryan would arrange for Lily to have dinner with his sister. Olivia would block off her calendar, telling her assistant it was an important meeting she couldn't reschedule. They talked about everything and nothing. Olivia told him about the books she used to love reading before she got too busy, the art classes she'd taken in college before her father convinced her to major in business instead. Ryan told her about the houses he worked on, the satisfaction of seeing a project come together, the dream he used to have of starting his own construction company. "Why didn't you?" Olivia asked one evening. "Sarah didn't want me to take the risk. She liked the stability of a steady paycheck." Ryan shrugged. "And then she left anyway, so I guess the stability didn't matter as much as I thought. You could still do it, start your own company. Maybe someday. Right now I need to focus on Lily, make sure she has everything she needs. The dream can wait." Olivia looked at him with something like sadness. "That's what I keep telling myself too, but I'm starting to wonder if someday ever actually comes." It was during their 5th meeting that things shifted. They were sitting in their usual booth when Olivia's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her entire body tensed. "I should take this," she said, her voice tight. "It's my father." Ryan nodded and she stepped outside. Through the window he could see her pacing, one hand pressed to her temple, her posture rigid. The conversation lasted 10 minutes, and when she came back inside, her hands were shaking. "Everything okay?" Ryan asked, though it clearly wasn't. Olivia sat down heavily. "My father wants me to approve a merger. Hutchins Corporation. It would make us one of the largest consulting firms on the East Coast." "That sounds like good news." "It would mean gutting half our current projects to streamline operations, including the community development initiative I wanted to fund." She pressed her palms flat against the table like she was trying to ground herself. "Gerald Hutchins would join our board. He'd have significant influence over company decisions." "The same Gerald Hutchins who shut you down last time?" "The exact same." Olivia's laugh was hollow. "My father thinks it's a brilliant move, says I'm being emotional and short-sighted by hesitating." Ryan watched her carefully. "What do you think?" "I think I'm tired of doing what everyone else wants." The words came out sharp, angry. "I think I'm tired of running a company I don't even recognize anymore. I think—" She stopped abruptly, pressing her fingers against her eyes. "Sorry, I shouldn't dump this on you." "Hey!" Ryan reached across the table without thinking, his hand covering hers. "That's what friends do. They listen when things get hard." Olivia looked down at their hands, then back up at him, and something in the air between them changed. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but Ryan felt it, a shift from companionship into something more complicated. He pulled his hand back slowly. "Do you want my opinion, or do you just need to vent?" "Both," she said quietly. "Then here's what I think. You already know what you want to do. The community project, the meaningful work, all of it. The only question is whether you're willing to fight for it. And if I fight and lose? Then at least you'll know you tried. That counts for something." Olivia was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone and typed something quickly, her jaw set with determination. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked. "Emailing my father, telling him I need more time to consider the merger." She hit send and set the phone down. "There. First step." "Good." "Is it?" "Because I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack." Ryan smiled. "That probably means you're doing the right thing. The easy choice doesn't usually make your heart race." She laughed, some of the tension bleeding out of her shoulders. "When did you get so wise?" "Around the same time I learned how to make a balanced breakfast while simultaneously finding lost shoes and signing permission slips." Single parenting sounds terrifying. "It is, but it's also the best thing that ever happened to me." Ryan paused, then added, "Lily wants to meet you, by the way." Olivia's eyes widened. "She knows about me." "She knows I've been meeting a friend for coffee. She's 7. She asks questions about everything. And you want me to meet her? Ryan hadn't planned to say it, but now that it was out there, he realized he meant it. Only if you want to. No pressure. I just thought, we've been doing this for a month now. Meeting in secret like we're doing something wrong. Maybe it doesn't have to be a secret. Olivia looked nervous, but also something else. Hopeful, maybe. I'd like that. Meeting her, I mean, if you're sure. I'm sure. They made plans for the following Saturday. Something casual, the park, maybe ice cream after. Ryan tried not to think about what it meant that he was introducing Olivia to his daughter. Tried not to examine too closely why the thought of seeing her in the daylight, in his real life instead of their carefully carved-out coffee shop bubble, made him both excited and terrified. That night, after he got home and checked on a sleeping Lily, Ryan stood in his kitchen and forced himself to be honest. He was developing feelings for Olivia Bennett. Real feelings. Not just the camaraderie of two lonely people finding comfort in each other's company. It was a terrible idea for about 100 different reasons. She was wealthy, powerful, operating in circles he couldn't even comprehend. He was a single father barely holding his life together, still processing the abandonment of his ex-wife. They existed in completely different worlds. But when he closed his eyes, he saw Olivia's face as she'd looked at him across the table tonight, vulnerable and strong at the same time, trusting him with truths she probably didn't share with anyone else. His phone buzzed, a text from Olivia. Thank you for tonight, for all the nights, really. I don't know what I would have done without these conversations. Ryan stared at the message, his thumb hovering over the keyboard. He should keep it light, casual, maintain the boundaries that would keep both of them safe. Instead, he typed, same here. Looking forward to Saturday. Her response came quickly. Me too. More than I probably should be. Ryan read that message 3 times, trying to decode what she meant. Then he set his phone down and went to bed, knowing sleep wouldn't come easy. Saturday arrived with perfect weather, blue skies, warm sun, the kind of spring day that made everyone forget winter ever existed. Ryan spent the morning cleaning the apartment and trying to convince himself this wasn't a big deal. Just a friend meeting his daughter, completely normal. Lily, on the other hand, had decided this was a very big deal. What if she doesn't like me? She asked while Ryan braided her hair. She's going to love you. Everyone loves you. What if I say something wrong? There's no wrong thing to say. Just be yourself. What if, Lil, Ryan turned her around to face him. Why are you so worried? She bit her lip, a gesture she'd picked up from him. Because if she likes you, and I don't like her, then you'll be sad. But if I like her, and she doesn't like you back, then we'll both be sad. Ryan's heart squeezed. Sometimes he forgot how perceptive she was, how much she picked up on things he thought he was hiding. How about this? He said gently. We just go meet my friend Olivia and have a nice time at the park. No pressure, no worrying about what happens next. Can we do that? Lily thought about it, then nodded. Okay, but I'm still wearing my good shoes. They met Olivia at Riverside Park at 2 o'clock. Ryan spotted her immediately. She was sitting on a bench near the playground, wearing jeans and a simple blue sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked younger like this, more relaxed, though Ryan could see the nervousness in the way she kept checking her phone. When she saw them approaching, she stood up, and Ryan watched her take a deep breath like she was preparing for something important. Hi, she said as they reached her. Hi, Ryan replied. Then to Lily, this is Olivia. Olivia, this is Lily. Lily studied Olivia with the serious, assessing look she gave everyone new in her life. Olivia seemed to understand she was being evaluated and didn't try to force anything, just smiled and waited. You're very pretty, Lily announced finally. Olivia blinked, clearly not expecting that. Oh, thank you. So are you. I know, Daddy tells me all the time. Lily tilted her head. Are you my dad's girlfriend? Lily, Ryan said, mortified. But Olivia just laughed, and it was genuine, not forced. No, I'm just his friend. Is that okay? I guess so. Friends are good too. Lily pointed toward the playground. Want to see how high I can swing? I'd love to. They spent the next hour at the playground, and Ryan found himself relaxing as he watched Olivia interact with his daughter. She didn't talk down to Lily, didn't try too hard to impress her. She just listened when Lily chattered about school and her best friend Maya and the book she was reading, and asked real questions that showed she was actually interested. At one point, Lily challenged Olivia to a race across the monkey bars. Olivia kicked off her shoes and went for it, making it halfway before her hand slipped and she dropped into the sand below, laughing. "You almost had it," Lily said encouragingly. "Want to try again?" "Maybe next time. I think I need to build up my hand strength." "Daddy could help you. He's really strong." Ryan, who had been standing to the side watching all this, felt his face heat up. "Thanks, Lil." "It's true," Lily insisted. Then to Olivia, "One time he carried me all the way home from the park when I fell and hurt my knee. It's like 1,000,000 miles." "More like 6 blocks," Ryan corrected. "Still really far when you're carrying a person." Olivia smiled at him, and there was something in her eyes that made his chest tight. "Sounds like you have a pretty great dad." "The best," Lily agreed matter-of-factly. Then she spotted another kid from her school across the playground and asked if she could go say hi. "Stay where I can see you," Ryan called after her as she ran off. And then it was just him and Olivia, standing by the monkey bars, the comfortable bubble of distraction gone. "She's wonderful," Olivia said softly. "Yeah, she is. And you're really good with her. Natural." Ryan shrugged. "I've had a lot of practice." They walked over to a bench and sat down, watching Lily play. The silence between them wasn't awkward, but it was charged with something unspoken. "I was terrified," Olivia admitted, "of meeting her. I kept thinking, what if I mess this up? What if I say the wrong thing and she hates me?" "She doesn't hate you. Pretty sure she's already planning your wedding." Olivia laughed, but it sounded nervous. "She asked if I was your girlfriend. She asks everyone that. Last month she asked the woman at the grocery store." "Really?" "No," Ryan admitted, "but I'm trying to make this less awkward." "It's not awkward, it's just—" Olivia trailed off, watching Lily climb the jungle gym. "This is your real life, your daughter, the park, all of it, and I'm realizing I've never shared my real life with anyone, just the version I perform for everyone else." Ryan turned to look at her. "So, share it now." "What do you mean?" "Your real life. Show me the parts you don't perform." Olivia met his eyes, and for a moment Ryan thought she might cry. But she didn't. Instead, she smiled, small and tentative and completely genuine. "Okay," she said, "but I have to warn you, it's not very exciting." "Try me." So she told him. About the apartment she lived in that was too big and too empty, chosen because it was in the right neighborhood with the right address. About the charity galas she attended, not because she cared about the causes, but because her assistant put them on her calendar. About Sunday mornings when she'd wake up and have no idea what to do with herself because every other day was so regimented. "I ordered pizza for breakfast last Sunday," she said. "Just sat on my couch in my pajamas and ate cold pizza and watched bad reality TV. And it was the happiest I'd been in months." That sounds pretty good, actually. It was. But then I felt guilty about it, like I should have been doing something productive. "Olivia," Ryan said gently, "you're allowed to exist without being productive." She looked at him like he'd said something revolutionary. "No one's ever told me that before." "Then the people in your life are idiots." That made her laugh, really laugh, and Ryan felt something warm spread through his chest at the sound. Lily ran back over, cheeks flushed from playing. "Can we get ice cream now?" "Sure thing, kiddo." They walked to the ice cream shop 3 blocks away, Lily between them, chattering about her playground adventures. Every so often, Olivia would catch Ryan's eye over Lily's head, and they'd share a smile that felt like a secret. At the ice cream shop, Lily ordered chocolate with rainbow sprinkles and immediately got it all over her face. Olivia ordered vanilla, and Ryan got coffee flavor, and they sat at a small table by the window. "This is my favorite place," Lily announced. "Daddy brings me here when I do good on tests." "What about when you don't do good on tests?" Olivia asked. "He brings me here anyway, and we talk about how to do better next time." Lily swung her legs under the table. "Do you have kids, Olivia?" "No, I don't." "Why not?" "Lily," Ryan warned, but Olivia didn't seem bothered. "I guess I never really thought about it. I've been too busy with work." "That's sad," Lily said with the blunt honesty of children. "Kids are the best part of life, right, Daddy?" "Right," Ryan agreed, ruffling her hair. Lily studied Olivia for a moment, then nodded like she'd made a decision. I like you. You can come to the park with us again if you want. I'd like that very much, Olivia said, and her voice was thick with emotion. After they finished their ice cream, Ryan walked Olivia to her car. Lily had run ahead to look at a dog someone was walking, giving them a moment alone. Thank you, Olivia said, for today, for including me in this. Thank you for coming. I know it was probably weird. It wasn't weird. It was perfect. She paused, seeming to struggle with something. Ryan, I need to tell you something. His stomach dropped. Okay. I think I'm starting to depend on you, on these conversations, these meetings, and I don't know if that's healthy or fair to you. Ryan thought about all the nights he'd checked his phone, hoping for a message from her. All the times he'd found himself thinking about what she'd said, wondering how she was doing. The way his whole week felt brighter knowing he'd see her on Wednesday at Maggie's. I'm starting to depend on you too, he said quietly. Olivia looked up at him, and the vulnerability in her eyes nearly broke him. What are we doing, Ryan? I don't know, but I don't think I want to stop, even though this is complicated, especially because it's complicated. She smiled, but there was sadness in it. My board meeting is Monday, the merger decision. After that, things are going to get messy. Then we'll figure it out together. Lily came running back, and the moment passed. Olivia said goodbye to both of them, hugged Lily carefully like she was something precious, and then got in her car. As Ryan watched her drive away, Lily slipped her hand into his. I really like her, Daddy. Yeah, Ryan said softly. Me too. Is she going to be around more? I hope so, kiddo. I really hope so. But even as he said it, Ryan felt the weight of uncertainty. Olivia's world and his were so different. He didn't know how to bridge that gap, or if it was even possible. All he knew was that for the first time since Sarah left, he felt something other than tired. He felt alive, and that had to count for something. That night, after Lily was asleep, his phone buzzed with a message from Olivia. Today was one of the best days I've had in years. Thank you for letting me be part of it. Ryan typed back. You're part of it anytime you want to be, even when things get complicated, especially then. There was a long pause, then, I'm falling for you, Ryan Carter, and it terrifies me. Ryan stared at those words, his heart hammering. He should be careful, should protect himself and Lily from the inevitable pain when this fell apart. Should remember that people like Olivia Bennett didn't end up with people like him. But sitting there in his quiet apartment, thinking about the way she'd laughed with his daughter and the honesty in her eyes when she'd told him about eating pizza in her pajamas, he couldn't bring himself to walk away. I'm falling for you too, he typed, and it terrifies me too. But I think that's okay. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Her final message came a few minutes later. See you Wednesday? Wouldn't miss it. Ryan set his phone down and leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. He had no idea where this was going or how it would end. But for the first time in 4 years, he was willing to find out. Whatever happened next, at least he wouldn't be going through it alone. Monday came faster than Olivia wanted it to. She sat in the Bennett Industries boardroom at 8 in the morning, surrounded by men in expensive suits who looked at her like she was a child playing dress-up in her father's office. Gerald Hutchins sat at the far end of the table, his smile predatory and patient. He knew he was going to win. They all did. Olivia, her father said from his seat to her right. Richard Bennett had officially retired 2 years ago, but he still attended major board meetings, still wielded influence like a weapon. We're waiting for your decision on the merger. She looked down at the folder in front of her, hundreds of pages of financial projections, legal terms, strategic analyses. Everything looked good on paper. The merger would expand their reach, increase their revenue, secure their position as an industry leader. It would also destroy everything she'd been trying to build. I need more time, she said. The room went silent. Gerald's smile faded. Her father's jaw tightened. We've given you 3 weeks, Gerald said, his voice careful, but edged with irritation. How much more time do you need? I want to explore alternative strategies before committing to this direction. Alternative strategies? Her father leaned forward. Olivia, we've been over this. The merger is the logical next step. Every analysis supports it. Every financial analysis, she corrected, but we haven't adequately considered the community impact or alignment with our company values. Gerald laughed, short and dismissive. Community impact? Olivia, we're a consulting firm, not a charity. Our responsibility is to our shareholders. Our responsibility is to operate ethically and sustainably, Olivia shot back. That includes considering how our decisions affect the communities we work in. This is exactly the kind of emotional thinking that concerns us. Another board member, Patterson, she thought his name was, chimed in. Business decisions need to be based on data, not feelings. Olivia felt heat rise in her face. This was the pattern. Every time she tried to advocate for something meaningful, they dismissed it as emotional or impractical. Never mind that her father had built Bennett Industries on relationships and reputation. Never mind that the company's original mission statement emphasized social responsibility. I'm not being emotional, she said, forcing her voice to stay level. I'm being strategic. Short-term profit maximization at the expense of long-term sustainability is bad business. Study after study shows that companies with strong community ties and ethical practices outperform their competitors over time. Then why are you hesitating? Gerald asked. The merger allows us to do more, reach further, have greater impact, by cutting the programs that actually make a difference, by consolidating power in ways that prioritize profit over people. Her father stood up abruptly. Can we have a moment? Everyone except Olivia, please step out. The board members filed out, Gerald giving her one last calculated look before the door closed. Then it was just Olivia and her father in the too quiet room. What are you doing? Richard asked, his voice low and tight. My job. Making the best decision for the company. Your job is to lead, not to obstruct. I handed you Bennett Industries because I trusted you to grow it, not to run it into the ground with idealistic nonsense. Olivia stood to face him. It's not nonsense, Dad. It's the reason you started this company in the first place. Remember? You wanted to help businesses succeed while contributing positively to their communities. When did we lose sight of that? When the market changed and we had to adapt or die, Richard said harshly. You think I don't want to do meaningful work? Of course I do. But first we have to survive. First we have to be profitable. You can't change the world from bankruptcy. And you can't change the world by becoming exactly like everyone else. Her father's expression hardened. You sound like your mother. It was meant as a criticism, but Olivia felt something spark in her chest. Her mother had been an artist, creative and passionate, and completely unsuited for the corporate world Richard inhabited. She'd died when Olivia was 16, and with her had gone the part of Olivia that believed in following your heart instead of the spreadsheet. Until recently. Until Ryan. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Olivia said quietly. Richard stared at her for a long moment, then sighed and sat back down. I'm trying to protect you, Olivia. The board is already questioning your leadership. If you block this merger, they'll move to replace you. Let them try. They'll succeed. Gerald has been building support for months. He's got 3 board members in his pocket, maybe 4. You reject this merger, and they'll call for a vote of no confidence. Olivia's stomach dropped. She'd known the board was unhappy, but she hadn't realized it had gone this far. You knew about this. Of course I knew. Why do you think I've been pushing you so hard to approve the merger? It's not just about the business, Olivia. It's about keeping you in control of it. She sank back into her chair, the weight of it hitting her. So my choices are accept the merger or lose the company entirely. Yes. That's not a choice, Dad. That's a hostage situation. That's business. Richard's voice softened slightly. I know it's not what you want to hear, but you have to be realistic. Sometimes we don't get to do what we want. Sometimes we have to do what's necessary. Olivia thought about Ryan, about the conversation they'd had at the ice cream shop, about Lily asking her why she didn't have kids, and the simple truth she'd given. She'd been too busy, too focused on maintaining control, on meeting expectations, on being who everyone needed her to be. And for what? To sit in this boardroom being told she had no real power anyway? I need 24 hours, she said finally, to review everything one more time. Olivia, 24 hours, Dad. You owe me that much. Richard looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Fine. But Wednesday morning I need your answer, and it better be the right one. Olivia left the boardroom feeling like she might throw up. She made it to her office, closed the door, and stood at the window overlooking the city. From 40 stories up, everything looked small and manageable. The people on the street were just dots moving through their lives without knowing or caring about mergers and board votes and impossible decisions. She pulled out her phone and stared at her last message exchange with Ryan. His words from Saturday night glowed on the screen. I'm falling for you too, and it terrifies me too, but I think that's okay. Without letting herself overthink it, she called him. He answered on the third ring. Hey, everything okay? No, she said, and her voice cracked. No, everything's not okay. What happened? She told him everything. The merger, the board's ultimatum, her father's warning. The words poured out of her in a messy rush, and she didn't try to organize them or make herself sound rational. She just talked, and Ryan listened. When she finally ran out of words, there was silence on the line. Then Ryan said, What do you want to do? I want to tell them all to go to hell and walk away. So why don't you? Because it's not that simple. If I leave, Gerald takes over, and everything I've been trying to protect gets destroyed anyway. At least if I stay and accept the merger, I have some influence over how it's implemented. Do you, though? Or are you just telling yourself that to feel better about giving in? The question hit her like cold water. That's harsh. You asked what I thought. I asked what you thought I should do, not for you to call me a coward. I didn't call you a coward, Ryan said, his voice gentle. I asked if you were being honest with yourself. There's a difference. Olivia pressed her forehead against the cool glass of the window. I don't know anymore. I don't know what's honest and what's just fear dressed up as logic. Then figure it out. You've got 24 hours. That's not enough time. It's plenty of time to get clear on what matters to you. Ryan paused. Look, I can't tell you what to do, Olivia. This is your life, your company, your decision. But I can tell you what I see. I see someone who's brilliant and capable and completely miserable because she's trying to be what everyone else wants instead of who she actually is. And who am I? I don't know, but I think you do, somewhere underneath all the noise. You just have to be brave enough to listen. Olivia closed her eyes, tears leaking out despite her best efforts to hold them back. What if I listen and I still don't know? Then you start with what you do know, one true thing, remember? She remembered. It felt like a lifetime ago that they'd had that conversation at Maggie's, but it had only been 6 weeks. 6 weeks since she'd met Ryan Carter and started questioning everything about her life. I know I don't want to spend the rest of my life in boardrooms being told my ideas are too emotional, she said quietly. Good. That's a start. I know I want to do work that matters, that makes a difference. Keep going. I know that the happiest I've been in months was eating ice cream with you and Lily and talking about nothing important. Ryan's voice was soft when he spoke. That sounds pretty important to me. They talked for another hour. Olivia sitting in her office, Ryan on his lunch break at a construction site somewhere across the city. He told her about the house his crew was working on, a renovation for a family who'd saved for years to afford it, about the satisfaction of building something real that people would live in, make memories in. That's what I want, Olivia said. Something real. Then go get it. After they hung up, Olivia sat in her office and made a list. Not a strategic analysis or a financial projection, just a simple list of what mattered to her. At the top she wrote, do work that helps people. Below that, make my own choices. And at the bottom, after a long moment of hesitation, be with someone who sees me, not the performance. She stared at that last item for a long time. Then she folded the list and put it in her pocket. Wednesday morning at Maggie's couldn't come fast enough. Ryan arrived first, claiming their usual booth and ordering coffee for both of them. When Olivia walked in at 6:15, she looked different. Her hair was down, she was wearing jeans and a sweater instead of a suit, and there was something in her expression he couldn't quite read. Hi, she said, sliding into the booth across from him. Hi, how'd the meeting go? Olivia wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. I rejected the merger. Ryan's eyebrows shot up. You did? I walked into that boardroom this morning, looked my father and Gerald Hutchins and every single board member in the eye, and told them I wouldn't approve a merger that compromised our values. Then I proposed an alternative strategy, restructure our current operations, divest from low-impact projects, and reinvest that capital in community development initiatives. What did they say? Olivia laughed, but there was no humor in it. Gerald called it corporate suicide. My father asked if I'd lost my mind. Patterson suggested I take a leave of absence to reconsider my priorities. And what did you say? I told them I'd never been more clear on my priorities in my life. She met Ryan's eyes. Then I resigned. The coffee shop noise faded into background static. Ryan stared at her, trying to process what she'd just said. You quit? Effective immediately. I'm done, Ryan. I'm done performing, done trying to be what everyone expects, done sacrificing what matters for what looks good on paper. She was crying now, but she was also smiling. I quit, and it's terrifying, and I have no idea what I'm going to do next, but I feel more like myself than I have in years. Ryan didn't think. He just slid out of his side of the booth and into hers, pulling her into his arms. She collapsed against him, shaking with tears and laughter and relief. I'm so proud of you, he murmured into her hair. I'm unemployed. You're free. She pulled back to look at him, her mascara smudged, her eyes red. I'm absolutely terrified. Good. That means it's real. They sat there for a long time, Olivia tucked against Ryan's side, his arm around her shoulders. The waitress came by at one point, took one look at them, and just left a fresh pot of coffee on the table without saying anything. Finally, Olivia straightened up and wiped her eyes. I should probably tell you the rest. There's more? Gerald called for an emergency board vote. Since I'd already resigned, I wasn't in the room for it, but my assistant texted me the results. They approved the merger unanimously and named Gerald interim CEO. Olivia, it's fine. I knew it would happen. I just thought I'd have more time to prepare. She took a shaky breath. My father called me after. He said I'd thrown away everything he built, that I was naive and idealistic and would regret this for the rest of my life. Ryan's jaw clenched. He's wrong. Maybe. Or maybe he's right and I just destroyed my career for nothing. She looked at him. But you know what the weird thing is? I don't care. I should care. But I don't. All I feel is relief. That's not weird. That's healthy. They talked until the coffee shop closed at 9, long past when they usually parted ways. Olivia told him about the look on Gerald's face when she'd resigned, the shocked silence from the board, the way her father wouldn't meet her eyes. Ryan told her about a similar moment when he'd decided to stop chasing Sarah, to stop trying to fix a marriage that had been broken long before she left. It hurt, he said, accepting that I couldn't control it, couldn't make it work through sheer force of will, but once I let go, once I stopped fighting reality, I could finally start moving forward. Is that what this is? Moving forward? I think so, or at least it's the first step. When they finally left the coffee shop, Ryan walked Olivia to her car like always. But this time when they reached it, she didn't immediately get in. Ryan, she said, turning to face him, I need to tell you something. His heart started pounding. Okay. These past few weeks with you have been the realest thing in my life. You and Lily, you've shown me what it looks like to just exist without performing, to be enough exactly as you are. She took a breath. And I'm falling in love with you. Not the version of you that's trying to prove something or hide something or be something, just you. Ryan felt like all the air had been knocked out of his lungs. Olivia, you don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. After everything that happened today, I'm done hiding true things. She smiled, but it was wobbly. So there it is. I'm unemployed, my family's furious with me, I have no plan, and I'm in love with a man I've known for 6 weeks. How's that for a disaster? Ryan started laughing. He couldn't help it. The absurdity of it all, the beautiful disaster of two broken people finding each other and somehow making it work. It was too much. What? Olivia asked, looking uncertain. I'm in love with you too, he said, and watched her eyes go wide. I've been trying not to be because it seemed impossible and complicated and like it would end badly. But I am. I'm in love with you, Olivia Bennett. She kissed him then, right there in the parking lot of Maggie's coffee house, and Ryan kissed her back like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Olivia pressed her forehead to his. What do we do now? She whispered. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. They stood there for a long time, holding each other under the streetlights, neither of them ready to let go. Finally, Olivia pulled back. I should go, it's late, and you have Lily to get home to. Come over this weekend, Saturday. We'll do something normal. Maybe order pizza and watch a movie. In your pajamas? Ryan grinned. If you want. I want. She kissed him again, quick and soft. I'll see you Saturday. Ryan watched her drive away, then stood in the parking lot for another minute, trying to process everything that had just happened. Olivia loved him. She'd quit her job, blown up her entire life, and told him she loved him. He should probably be more worried about the practical implications, about what happened when the initial rush wore off and reality set in, about whether they could actually make this work. But right now, walking to his car, all he felt was happy. The next 3 days were a whirlwind. News of Olivia's resignation spread through business circles fast. By Thursday morning, it was in the business section of the paper. Bennett Industries CEO steps down amid board dispute. The article was carefully neutral, but Ryan could read between the lines. It painted Olivia as idealistic and impractical, Gerald as the stabilizing force the company needed. Olivia called him Thursday night, her voice tight. My mother called. She said I've embarrassed the family and demanded I issue a public statement taking responsibility for mismanagement. Are you going to? No, I didn't mismanage anything. I just refused to compromise my values. A pause. But it hurts, having my own parents turn on me like this. I know, Ryan said, wishing he could be there instead of talking on the phone. But you did the right thing. Did I? Because it feels like I just burned my entire life to the ground. Sometimes you have to burn it down to rebuild it right. She was quiet for a moment. When did you become so wise? I'm not wise. I'm just further along in the burning it down process. That made her laugh, which had been his goal. They talked until late, Olivia processing her feelings, Ryan mostly listening. At one point, Lily appeared in her pajamas asking for water, and Ryan put the call on speaker while he got it for her. Is that Olivia? Lily asked. Yeah, kiddo. Can I say hi? Ryan looked at the phone, then at his daughter. Sure. Lily took the phone carefully. Hi, Olivia. Are you coming over on Saturday still? I am, Olivia's voice came through. Is that okay with you? Yeah, Daddy says we're getting pizza and watching a movie. Do you like Moana? I've never seen it. Lily gasped, scandalized. Never? We have to watch it then. It's the best movie ever. Then that's what we'll watch. Okay. Feel better, Olivia. Daddy said you had a bad week. Thank you, Lily. That's very sweet. After Ryan got Lily back to bed, he picked up the phone again. Sorry about that. Don't be sorry. That was exactly what I needed. Olivia's voice was soft. She's wonderful, Ryan. She likes you too. Good, because I'm a little terrified of Saturday. Why? Because it feels real, like we're actually doing this, not just talking about it. We are doing this, Ryan said. If you want to. I want to. I'm just scared. Me too. But I think that's okay. Saturday arrived with rain, the kind of steady downpour that made staying inside feel like the only reasonable option. Ryan spent the morning cleaning the apartment and trying not to be nervous. Lily helped by rearranging her stuffed animals 17 times and asking questions about Olivia every 5 minutes. Does she like pepperoni pizza? I think so. What if she doesn't? Then we'll order half cheese. Does she know all the words to the songs? Probably not, Lil. She's never seen the movie. We should teach her. By the time Olivia knocked on the door at 6, Ryan was ready to crawl out of his skin. He opened the door, and there she was, hair damp from the rain, wearing jeans and an oversized sweater, holding a bag that clinked suspiciously like wine bottles. Hi, she said, looking as nervous as he felt. Hi, come in. Lily appeared behind him immediately. Olivia, you're here. Did you bring pajamas? Olivia blinked. Was I supposed to? We're having a pajama pizza movie night. Daddy said you knew. Ryan felt his face heat up. I mentioned we'd be casual. I didn't specify pajamas. But Olivia was already smiling. Give me 5 minutes. I keep a change of clothes in my car. She came back wearing yoga pants and a t-shirt that said, I'd rather be reading. Her hair pulled up in a messy bun, and Ryan fell a little more in love with her right there in his doorway. The pizza arrived 20 minutes later. They ate sitting on the living room floor, paper plates balanced on their laps, Lily between them chattering about her week at school. Olivia listened to every word, asked questions, laughed at Lily's jokes. She fit into the space like she'd always been there. After dinner, they settled on the couch to watch Moana. Lily insisted on sitting in the middle, and Ryan and Olivia flanked her like bookends. Halfway through the movie, Lily fell asleep with her head on Olivia's shoulder. She's out, Ryan whispered. Olivia looked down at Lily, her expression soft. Should we move her to bed? Probably, but let's give her a few more minutes. They sat there in the dim light of the TV, Lily sleeping peacefully between them, the rain still pattering against the windows. It was so normal, so domestic, so far from the dramatic confessions and life-changing decisions of the past week. It was perfect. Ryan, Olivia said quietly, can I ask you something? Always. Are you sure about this? About us? Because once people find out we're together, it's going to get ugly. The business world is small and gossip travels fast. They'll say I quit because of you, that I threw away my career for a man. And you'll get pulled into it too. People will question your motives, your character. Ryan shifted carefully, trying not to wake Lily. Let them talk. It could affect your job, your reputation. Olivia, I've already been through the worst gossip anyone could throw at me. When Sarah left, people said every terrible thing you can imagine. That I must have been abusive or neglectful or so terrible that she had no choice but to run. I survived that. I can survive this. But you shouldn't have to. This is my mess. It's our mess now, and I'm not going anywhere. He reached across Lily to take Olivia's hand. I'm sure. Are you? She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. I'm sure. Then screw what anyone else thinks. They carried Lily to bed together, Ryan lifting her carefully while Olivia pulled back the covers. When they tucked her in, Lily stirred slightly and mumbled, Love you, Daddy. Love you, Olivia. Olivia froze, her hand still smoothing Lily's blanket. Ryan saw tears in her eyes. In the living room, after they'd closed Lily's door, Olivia turned to him. She said she loves me. She does. Is that okay? It's more than okay. Her voice broke. I've spent my whole life trying to earn love through achievement and performance, and your daughter just loves me because I exist. How do I deserve that? You don't have to deserve it, Olivia. You just have to accept it. She kissed him then, and it was different from the parking lot kiss. Slower, deeper, full of promise and possibility. When they broke apart, she rested her head against his chest. I'm still terrified, she whispered. Good, Ryan said, holding her close. So am I. They spent the rest of the evening on the couch, talking in low voices. Olivia curled against his side. She told him about the job offers that had already started coming in, competitors trying to poach her, headhunters calling with opportunities. But none of them felt right. I don't want another CEO position, she said. I don't want to run someone else's company or chase someone else's vision. I want to do something that matters. Like what? Remember that community development project I told you about? The one the board refused to fund? Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it. Housing initiatives, job training, resources for single parents. Real, tangible help for people who need it. She sat up to look at him. What if I started my own nonprofit? Used my business experience and connections to actually make a difference? Ryan saw the spark in her eyes, the excitement that had been missing every time she'd talked about Bennett Industries. I think that's a brilliant idea. Really? Really, you'd be amazing at it. I don't know the first thing about running a nonprofit. You'll learn, same way you learned everything else. She smiled, but it was tentative. It would take time to set up. I'd need to do research, build a board, secure funding, and in the meantime, I'd be unemployed, living off savings. So it's not exactly the stable, impressive career path everyone expects from Olivia Bennett. Screw what everyone expects, Ryan said firmly. Do what makes you happy. Olivia looked at him like he'd given her something precious. You really mean that? Every word. She kissed him again, and this time when they broke apart, she was smiling for real. Okay, I'll do it. I'll start a nonprofit. I'll help however I can. You already are, just by believing I can. It was past midnight when Olivia finally left. They stood at the door, neither wanting to say goodbye. Thank you for tonight, Olivia said, for including me in your life, in Lily's life. Thank you for being brave enough to show up. I'll see you soon? Tomorrow if you want. Or Monday, or every day. Whatever works for you. She laughed. Every day might be too much. Then we'll start with tomorrow and see how it goes. Olivia kissed him one more time, then headed down the stairs to her car. Ryan watched from his apartment window as she drove away, the taillights disappearing into the rainy night. His phone buzzed a few minutes later. A text from Olivia. I meant what I said. I love you. Ryan smiled and typed back. I love you too. Sleep well. You too. Kiss Lily for me. He would. But first, he stood at the window for another minute, looking out at the rain-soaked street, thinking about everything that had changed in 6 weeks. About Olivia walking away from Bennett Industries, about the mess that was inevitably coming their way, about the future they were choosing to build together despite all the reasons they shouldn't. It was complicated and uncertain and probably going to be harder than either of them anticipated. But standing there in his quiet apartment, thinking about the woman who loved him and the daughter sleeping peacefully in the next room, Ryan couldn't bring himself to be anything but grateful. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. And that was enough. The storm hit on Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after Olivia's resignation. Ryan was at work, reviewing blueprints for a commercial renovation, when Marcus appeared in his office doorway looking uncomfortable. Hey man, you got a minute? Ryan glanced up. Sure, what's up? Marcus closed the door behind him and sat down heavily. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be straight with me. Something in his tone made Ryan's stomach tighten. Okay. Are you dating Olivia Bennett? The question hung in the air between them. Ryan could have lied, could have deflected, could have asked why it mattered. Instead, he said, yes. Marcus exhaled slowly. How long? Officially? About 3 weeks, but we've been seeing each other since the engagement party. Jesus, Ryan. Marcus ran a hand over his face. Do you have any idea what people are saying? I can imagine. I don't think you can. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened it to a gossip website Ryan had never heard of. The headline read, Bennett Industries CEO quits for construction worker boyfriend. Inside Olivia Bennett's shocking career suicide. Ryan's blood went cold as he scanned the article. It was full of speculation and half-truths, painting Olivia as a woman who'd thrown away everything for a man, and Ryan as some kind of opportunist who'd manipulated her. There were photos. Him and Olivia leaving Maggie's coffee house, sitting in the park with Lily, standing in his apartment building's parking lot. Someone had been following them. Where did this come from? Ryan asked, his voice tight. It went live this morning. Trevor sent it to me, asked if I knew anything. Marcus looked at him seriously. Is it true? Did she really quit because of you? No, she quit because her board was forcing her into a merger she didn't believe in. I had nothing to do with that decision. But you two were already involved when she made it? We were friends. That's all we were when she resigned. Marcus studied him for a long moment. And now? Now it's more. And before you ask, no, I'm not using her. I love her, Marcus. This isn't some scheme or game. I believe you, but other people won't. Marcus gestured to the phone. This is already spreading. HR called me this morning asking about it. Apparently some clients are concerned about the company's reputation if one of our project managers is involved in this kind of drama. Ryan's jaw clenched. Are you telling me my job is on the line? I'm telling you that people are asking questions, and you need to be prepared for fallout. The business world is small, and Olivia Bennett was a major player. Her stepping down like this, it's scandal, and you're caught in the middle of it. After Marcus left, Ryan sat at his desk staring at the article. He read it twice, feeling anger build with each sentence. They'd twisted everything, made their relationship sound sordid and calculated, made Olivia sound weak and him sound predatory. His phone rang. Olivia. Have you seen it? She asked without preamble. Yeah, Marcus just showed me. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I'm so sorry. I should have known they'd come after you once they figured out we were together. This isn't your fault. Yes, it is. Gerald leaked this. I know it was him. He's trying to discredit me, make my resignation look like an emotional breakdown instead of a principled decision. Her voice was shaking. And now he's dragging you through the mud, too. I can handle it. Can you? Because this article is everywhere. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. Reporters wanting statements, old colleagues asking if I've lost my mind, my mother calling to tell me I've humiliated the family. Again. Ryan heard the break in her voice and wished he was there instead of stuck at his desk. Where are you right now? My apartment. Hiding like a coward. You're not a coward. You're dealing with a lot. I should have anticipated this. Should have been smarter about how we handled going public. Olivia, listen to me. We didn't do anything wrong. We fell in love. That's not a crime. Tell that to the internet. She laughed bitterly. There are already memes, Ryan. Actual memes about me being a desperate CEO who quit her job for a younger man. I'm only 2 years younger than you. Facts don't matter to these people. The narrative is already written, and we're just characters in someone else's story. Ryan thought about what Marcus had said, about HR asking questions and clients getting nervous. Maybe we should lay low for a while. Let this blow over. There was a long silence. Then, are you breaking up with me? What? No, I'm saying maybe we keep things quiet until the attention dies down. So we hide. Pretend we're not together. Act like they're right to be ashamed of us. That's not what I meant. Isn't it? Olivia's voice was sharp now. Because it sounds like you're saying we should be embarrassed about this relationship. I'm saying I don't want Lily caught in the crossfire. She's 7, Olivia. She doesn't need to deal with photographers outside our building or kids at school asking questions about articles their parents read. Another long silence. When Olivia spoke again, her voice was small. You're right. I didn't think about that, about how this affects her. Ryan's anger deflated. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just trying to protect my daughter. I know. And that's exactly what you should do. She comes first, always. A pause. Maybe we do need some space, just until things calm down. Olivia, no, you're right. This is too much, too fast, too public. I'll step back. Give you room to handle this without me making it worse. That's not what I want. But it's what you need, for Lily. Her voice cracked. I have to go, Ryan. I'm sorry for all of this. She hung up before he could respond. Ryan sat there holding his phone, staring at the article still open on his computer screen. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. They were supposed to be strong enough to weather this together, but already, less than a day into the scandal, they were fracturing. He called her back. It went to voicemail. He tried again. Same result. Finally, he texted, I love you. We'll figure this out. Please call me back. The response came 20 minutes later. I love you too. But right now, love isn't enough. I need to fix this before it destroys you. Ryan showed the articles to his sister that night after Lily was asleep. Jennifer read through them, her expression darkening with each paragraph. This is garbage, she said finally. Pure tabloid garbage. It's also everywhere. Marcus said clients are already asking questions. Let them ask. You didn't do anything wrong. Tell that to HR. Jennifer set the phone down and looked at him seriously. Are you going to let these people scare you away from Olivia? It's not about being scared, it's about being realistic. This kind of attention could hurt my career, hurt Lily. Is a relationship worth that risk? Is she worth it? Ryan thought about Olivia on his couch watching Moana, about the way she listened to Lily's stories like they were the most important thing in the world, about the happiness in her eyes when she talked about starting her nonprofit, about the way she made him feel seen and understood in ways he hadn't felt in years. Yeah, he said quietly. She is. Then stop overthinking it and fight for her. She hung up on me. She's not answering my calls. Because she's trying to protect you, you idiot. She thinks she's doing you a favor by stepping back. Jennifer stood up. You need to go over there and tell her she's wrong. What about Lily? I'll stay here. Go. Ryan looked at his sister, then at his phone, then made a decision. He grabbed his keys and headed for the door. Olivia's apartment building was in the kind of neighborhood where doormen asked questions and security was tight. Ryan had only been there once before, briefly, when he'd picked her up for a weekend with Lily. The doorman recognized him and, after a phone call to Olivia's unit that went unanswered, politely but firmly told him he couldn't go up. Ryan stood on the sidewalk outside, looking up at the lit windows 40 stories above him. He called Olivia again. Voicemail. He texted, I'm outside your building. Please let me up. 5 minutes passed. 10. Nothing. He was about to give up when his phone rang. Olivia. Go home, Ryan. Not until we talk. We did talk, and you were right. Lily needs to come first, and I'm a liability to both of you right now. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. She sounded exhausted. And honestly, you should be relieved. This was never going to work long-term anyway. We're from different worlds, want different things. Stop, Ryan interrupted. Stop making up reasons why this can't work. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But running away won't fix anything. I'm not running away. I'm being smart. You're being a coward. Silence on the line. Then, excuse me? You heard me. You're scared of what people will say, scared of failing at something that matters. So you're hiding behind noble excuses about protecting me and Lily, but the truth is you're just protecting yourself. How dare you? I dare because I love you. And I know what it looks like when someone gives up on something worth fighting for, because I did it with my marriage. I let Sarah's unhappiness convince me that we were broken, and I stopped fighting to fix it. And you know what? She still left. The ending was the same, but I had to live with knowing I didn't even try. Olivia was quiet for a long moment. This is different. How? Because Sarah was one person. This is the entire business world judging us, attacking us, making us into a cautionary tale. So what? Let them talk. Let them judge. As long as we know the truth, what does it matter? It matters because it affects your job, your reputation, your daughter's safety. Lily is fine. She doesn't even know this is happening. And my job, if they fire me over this, then I'll find another job, or I'll finally start that construction company I've been dreaming about. Ryan took a breath. The only thing I can't do is lose you because we were too afraid to fight for each other. He heard a sound on the other end of the line that might have been a sob. Ryan, I'm coming up. Tell the doorman to let me in, or I'll stand out here all night until you do. That's ridiculous. Probably, but I'm doing it anyway. Another pause, then a shaky laugh. You're impossible. Is that a yes? That's a yes. 2 minutes later, Ryan was in the elevator heading to the 40th floor. When Olivia opened her door, she looked like she'd been crying for hours. Her eyes were red, her hair was a mess, and she was wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. She was beautiful. Hi, he said. Hi. She stepped back to let him in. You really would have stood outside all night? Absolutely. Her apartment was exactly what Ryan expected. Modern, expensive, impersonal, like a hotel suite someone had been living in temporarily. There were barely any photos, no personal touches, nothing that said this was Olivia's home rather than just a place she slept. I know what you're thinking, Olivia said, following his gaze. It's depressing. I was going to say it could use some color. She laughed, but it turned into a sob, and then Ryan was holding her while she cried into his chest. All the fear and stress and uncertainty of the past few weeks pouring out in gasping, ugly tears. I'm so tired, she said against his shirt. I'm tired of fighting, tired of people telling me I'm wrong, tired of feeling like I have to defend every choice I make. Then stop fighting alone. Let me help carry it. She pulled back to look at him, mascara streaked down her face. What if this ruins you? What if it doesn't? What if we get through this and come out stronger on the other side? That's optimistic. One of us has to be. Ryan wiped her tears with his thumb. Look, I'm not going to pretend this isn't hard or that the gossip doesn't hurt, but I also know that what we have is real, and real things are worth fighting for. Even when everyone's telling you to give up? Especially then. Olivia closed her eyes and leaned into his hand. I don't deserve you. Yes, you do. You just have to believe it. They stood there for a long time, holding each other in her empty apartment, until Olivia finally pulled away and wiped her face. I need to tell you something, she said. About the nonprofit. Okay, I've been doing research, reaching out to people I trust, building a plan, and I found the community development project I told you about, the housing initiative on the south side that Bennett Industries refused to fund. The one you wanted to invest in? Yes. They're still operating barely on grants and donations, but they're doing incredible work. Job training programs, affordable housing, resources for single parents like childcare assistance and legal aid. Her eyes lit up as she talked. I met with the director last week, a woman named Carol Martinez. She's been running this program for 15 years with almost no support, and she's helped hundreds of families. That's amazing. It is. And I want to help her. I want to build my nonprofit around supporting projects like hers, programs that are making real differences but don't have the funding or infrastructure to scale. Olivia took a breath. But to do that, I need to use my connections. I need to reach out to people in my old world, ask for donations and support, which means being visible, being public, probably generating more headlines and gossip.
Ryan saw where this was going. And you're worried that will make things worse for me. Yes, if I pursue this, the attention won't die down. It'll get worse before it gets better. And I'll be dragging you deeper into the spotlight with me.
He thought about what Marcus had said about clients questioning his judgment and HR asking questions. Thought about the possibility of photographers outside his building, reporters asking Lily questions at school. It was a real risk with real consequences. But he also thought about Olivia's face when she talked about the nonprofit, the passion and purpose that had been missing every time she'd discussed Bennett Industries. This was her chance to build something meaningful, to do the work that actually mattered to her. Do it, he said. Ryan, do it. Build your nonprofit, help Carol's program, use your connections. All of it.
But the gossip will eventually get boring and they'll move on to someone else. In the meantime, you'll be changing people's lives. That's more important than what some gossip website says about us. Olivia stared at him. You're serious. Completely. I believe in you, Olivia. I believe in what you're trying to do. And I'm not going to be the reason you don't do it. She kissed him then, hard and desperate and grateful. When they broke apart, she was crying again, but this time she was smiling too. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for believing in me. Always. They spent the rest of the night on her couch, talking through her plans for the nonprofit. Olivia showed him the research she'd compiled, the budget projections, the list of potential board members and donors. Ryan listened and asked questions and offered suggestions when he could, but mostly he just watched her come alive, talking about something she cared about. Around midnight, his phone buzzed, a text from Jennifer. Lily's fine, take your time. Also, you're welcome for the best sister advice ever. Ryan smiled and texted back. Thanks. I owe you. Yes, you do. Name the nonprofit after me. He showed the text to Olivia, who laughed. I like your sister. She likes you too. She told me I was an idiot for not fighting for you. Smart woman. Runs in the family. When Ryan finally left around 1 a.m, they stood at Olivia's door saying goodbye like teenagers who didn't want the night to end. I'll call you tomorrow, Olivia said. You better. And I want to see Lily this weekend, if that's still okay. More than okay. She's been asking about you. Yeah? Every day. She wants to know when you're coming over again and if you've practiced the Moana songs. Olivia smiled. Tell her I've been studying. Ryan kissed her one more time, then headed home feeling lighter than he had in days. They hadn't solved everything. The gossip was still out there, the judgment still real. But they'd made a choice to face it together instead of apart, and that felt like progress. The next morning, Ryan walked into work expecting the worst. Instead, he found his boss, Tom Richardson, waiting in his office. Ryan, sit down. Ryan sat, bracing himself. Tom leaned back in his chair and studied him for a moment. I'm not going to ask you about your personal life, because frankly, it's none of my business. What I'm going to ask is whether this situation is going to affect your work. No, sir. It won't. Good. Because you're a damn good project manager, and I'd hate to lose you over tabloid nonsense. Tom paused. That said, HR has received some complaints, clients expressing concern about the company's reputation, that sort of thing. I pushed back, told them your personal life doesn't impact your professional performance, but they're nervous. Ryan's stomach sank. Are they asking you to fire me? They're suggesting we consider it. I told them to pound sand. Tom smiled slightly. But I need you to understand the reality here. If this keeps escalating, if more clients complain, there may come a point where I can't protect you. Not because I don't want to, but because my hands will be tied. I understand. Do you? Because I'm telling you that you might need to make a choice between this job and this woman. And I need to know that you're prepared for that possibility. Ryan thought about Olivia's empty apartment and tired eyes, about her excitement when she talked about the nonprofit, about the way Lily had said, I love you to her without hesitation. Thought about what his life would look like without her in it. If it comes to that, Ryan said carefully, I'll make the choice that lets me sleep at night. Tom studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Fair enough. Just keep your nose clean and your work solid, and we'll deal with the rest as it comes. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. This isn't over. Ryan knew he was right. Over the next week, the articles kept coming. Some were worse than others. Accusations that Olivia had been embezzling from Bennett Industries.
Suggestions that Ryan was only with her for her money, speculation about his ex-wife leaving because of infidelity. None of it was true, but truth didn't seem to matter much in the court of public opinion. Marcus stopped eating lunch with him. Not out of judgment, he explained, but because clients had started asking questions when they saw them together. It was easier to maintain distance. Ryan's phone number somehow got leaked and reporters started calling at all hours asking for comments. He blocked the numbers and eventually just stopped answering calls from numbers he didn't recognize. The worst moment came when Lily came home from school crying. "What happened?" Ryan asked, dropping to his knees in front of her. "Maya's mom said I can't play with her anymore," Lily sobbed. "She said you're dating a bad woman, and that makes us bad too." Ryan felt rage burn through him so hot it was physical. He wanted to march over to Maya's house and tell her mother exactly what he thought of her and her judgment, but Lily was watching him with huge, scared eyes, needing him to make this okay. "You're not bad," he said firmly, pulling her into a hug. "You're wonderful and kind and perfect exactly as you are. And Olivia isn't bad either. Some people are scared of things they don't understand, and they say mean things because of that fear, but that doesn't make what they say true." "But why can't I play with Maya?" "Because Maya's mom made a choice based on gossip instead of facts. And that's her loss, because she's missing out on knowing how amazing you are." Lily cried into his shoulder for a long time while Ryan held her and tried to figure out how to explain adult cruelty to a 7-year-old. Eventually, she pulled back and wiped her eyes. "Can I still see Olivia?" "Of course you can." "Good, because I like her, and I don't care what Maya's mom says." Ryan kissed her forehead. "That's my girl." But after Lily went to bed that night, Ryan sat in his living room and seriously considered whether he should end things with Olivia. Not because he didn't love her, but because watching his daughter get hurt over something she didn't understand was unbearable. His phone rang. "Olivia." "Hey," he said, trying to sound normal. "Hey, how was your day?" Ryan almost lied, almost said it was fine. But they'd promised to be honest with each other no matter how hard it was. "Lily came home crying today. One of her friend's parents won't let them play together anymore because of us." Silence on the line. Then, "Ryan, I'm so sorry. I never wanted—" "I know, neither did I. But it happened anyway. Maybe I should stay away for a while, just until things calm down." "We tried that already, remember? It didn't work." "What else can we do? I can't keep watching you and Lily get hurt because of my choices." Ryan thought about what Jennifer had said, about fighting for what mattered. "We keep going. We show Lily that you don't run away from hard things, that sometimes loving someone means weathering storms together. Even when the storm is this bad? Especially then." He paused. "Olivia, I won't lie to you. This is harder than I expected, but giving up would be worse, because then all this pain would be for nothing." She was quiet for a long moment. "What if it doesn't get better? What if this is just how it is now?" "Then we adapt. We build a life that works despite the noise." Ryan looked around his small apartment, thought about all the ways his life had changed in the past 2 months. "We're good at that, remember? Building something from nothing." Olivia's laugh was wet, like she was crying. "When did you become the optimistic one?" "Someone has to be." They talked until late, making plans for the weekend, discussing Olivia's progress on the nonprofit, carefully avoiding the elephant in the room, that this might not get better, that the cost of staying together might be too high. But for now, they were still choosing each other, and that would have to be enough. Friday afternoon, Ryan got a call from an unfamiliar number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Is this Ryan Carter?" A woman's voice, professional and brisk. "Yes, who's this?" "My name is Carol Martinez. I run the Southside Community Development Initiative. Olivia Bennett gave me your number." Ryan sat up straighter. "The housing program?" "That's the one. Olivia's been helping me develop a proposal for expanded operations, and she mentioned you have experience in construction project management." "I do. We're planning to renovate a building we acquired last month, turn it into affordable housing units with community space on the ground floor. The project needs someone who can manage the construction logistics, coordinate with contractors, stay on budget. Olivia said you might be interested." Ryan's mind was racing. "She did?" "Yes. She speaks very highly of you, says you're the most capable project manager she knows." A pause.
This would be volunteer work initially. We don't have funding for paid staff yet, but if Olivia's fundraising goes as planned, we'd be able to offer a salary within 6 months. When would you need an answer? Soon. We're hoping to break ground in 8 weeks, which means we need to finalize plans and permits immediately. Ryan thought about Tom's warning, about HR's complaints, about the clients questioning his judgment, thought about the gossip that showed no signs of dying down. Then he thought about Olivia's face when she talked about Carol's program, about making a real difference instead of just chasing quarterly profits. "I'm in," he said. "When do we start?" Carol's relief was audible. "Really? Just like that?" "Just like that. Email me the details, and I'll review everything this weekend." After they hung up, Ryan sat at his desk staring at his computer screen. He'd just committed to a volunteer position that would eat up his evenings and weekends. His boss wasn't going to be happy. His career prospects could take a hit. But for the first time in weeks, he felt excited about something. His phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. "Carol said you agreed to help with the renovation. Are you sure?" Ryan smiled and typed back, "Positive, ready to build something that matters." Her response came immediately. "I love you. I love you too. See you tomorrow?" "Wouldn't miss it." Ryan looked around his office, at the blueprints for another generic commercial project, the emails from clients he'd never met asking for updates on buildings he didn't care about. He'd been doing this for 10 years, and somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten why he'd gotten into construction in the first place. It wasn't for the paycheck or the stability or the career advancement. It was because he loved building things, loved seeing empty spaces transform into homes and communities, loved the satisfaction of creating something useful and real. Maybe it was time to remember that. His office phone rang, Tom's extension. "Richardson wants to see you," his assistant said. "Now." Ryan took a breath and headed to his boss's office, wondering if this was the conversation he'd been dreading. But when he walked in, Tom was smiling. "I just got off the phone with the Harrisburg project client," Tom said. "They specifically requested you as lead project manager, said they'd heard good things and want you on their team." Ryan blinked. "They did? Seems your reputation is holding up better than HR thought. So here's the deal. You keep doing good work, these clients keep being happy, and I keep telling HR to back off. Sound fair?" "Very fair. Thank you, sir." "Don't make me regret it." Tom's expression turned serious. "And Ryan, whatever you're doing in your personal life, the volunteer work, the nonprofit support, all of it, keep doing it. Because whatever the gossip rags say, the people who matter can see the kind of man you are." Ryan left that office feeling like he could breathe for the first time in days. The gossip wasn't gone, the judgment hadn't disappeared, but at least his job was secure for now. And that was enough to keep moving forward. Saturday morning, Olivia arrived at Ryan's apartment with coffee and bagels and news that made her practically vibrate with excitement. "I got 3 major donors to commit," she said the moment Ryan opened the door. "Between them, that's enough to fund Carol's renovation and cover operating costs for the first year." "Olivia, that's amazing." "I know. I spent all day yesterday making calls and pitching the program, and people actually want to help. Real people with real money who care about making a difference." She was pacing his living room now, too energized to sit still. "We can break ground next month. Carol's already working with the city on permits. And if your project management keeps us on schedule and under budget, we'll have families moving in by next spring." Ryan caught her mid-pace and pulled her into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." She melted into him. "I couldn't have done this without you. You gave me the courage to try." "You already had the courage. You just needed permission to use it." Lily appeared in the hallway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Is Olivia here?" "Morning, sweetheart," Olivia said, immediately kneeling down to Lily's level. "Did we wake you?" "It's okay. I wanted to see you anyway." Lily studied her seriously. "Are people still being mean to you and Daddy?" Olivia glanced at Ryan, who gave her a slight nod. They'd agreed to be honest with Lily in age-appropriate ways. "Some people are," Olivia said gently. "They don't understand our relationship, and that makes them say unkind things. Maya's mom says you're bad, but I told her she's wrong. Thank you for defending me. That was very brave." "Daddy says brave people do hard things even when they're scared. Are you scared?" Olivia's eyes met Ryan's over Lily's head. "Sometimes, But your dad helps me be brave. He's good at that, Lily agreed matter-of-factly. Then she took Olivia's hand. Want to help me make pancakes? Daddy always burns them. I do not burn them, Ryan protested. You burned them last week. That was once. And the week before. Okay, twice, but that's not always. Olivia laughed, letting Lily drag her toward the kitchen. I'd love to help make pancakes. Ryan watched them work together. Lily standing on a stool measuring ingredients while Olivia read the recipe, both of them giggling when flour puffed into a cloud. This was what mattered, not the gossip or the judgment or the people who thought they knew better. This, right here, his daughter and the woman he loved making pancakes on a Saturday morning. Everything else was just noise. 6 months passed before Ryan realized he'd stopped checking the gossip websites. It happened gradually, the way most healing does. One day he was refreshing his phone every hour, bracing for the next attack. And the next he was standing in the half-renovated community center on the south side, covered in drywall dust, completely forgetting that people had ever cared about his relationship status. The Southside Community Development Initiative's building was coming together slower than planned, but better than expected. Ryan had recruited 3 contractors he'd worked with over the years, all willing to donate time and materials. The ground floor was nearly finished. A community meeting space with a small kitchen, offices for Carol's staff, a childcare area with bright murals that Olivia had commissioned from a local artist. We're about 2 weeks behind schedule, Ryan told Carol one afternoon in late October, reviewing the timeline on his tablet. But we're still under budget, which gives us some flexibility. Carol, a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and the kind of focused energy that could move mountains, nodded approvingly. The families are getting anxious. We've got 8 units spoken for already, and people keep calling asking when they can move in. Tell them February? Maybe late January if the inspections go smoothly. I'll tell them February. Better to underpromise. Carol looked around the space, and Ryan saw emotion flicker across her usually pragmatic face. This is really happening. After 15 years of barely scraping by, we're actually expanding. You're the one who kept it alive all those years. We're just helping it grow. Don't sell yourself short, Ryan. You're here every evening, every weekend. This wouldn't exist without you. She paused. How's Olivia? I haven't seen her in a few days. Ryan smiled. Busy. She's got 3 other programs she's helping now, plus the nonprofit paperwork is drowning her. But she'll be here tomorrow. She wants to see the community room finished. She's something special, that one. Yeah, Ryan said softly. She really is. The truth was, the past 6 months had been harder than either of them had anticipated. The gossip had eventually died down, like Ryan predicted, but not before doing real damage. Olivia's parents had cut off contact entirely, and several of her old friends had distanced themselves. Ryan had lost 2 clients who'd specifically requested he not be assigned to their projects, though Tom had backed him up and the company had absorbed the loss. But they'd survived it. More than that, they'd built something real in the aftermath. Olivia's nonprofit, officially named the Bennett Martinez Foundation, a compromise that honored both her family legacy and Carol's tireless work, was now funding 4 community programs across the city. The paperwork had been brutal, the fundraising exhausting, but Olivia attacked it with the same determination she'd once applied to running Bennett Industries. Except now she came home energized instead of depleted. Home. That was another change. 3 months ago, Olivia had asked if she could keep some clothes at Ryan's apartment. Just a few things, she'd said, for the nights when she stayed over. Within a week, she'd had a toothbrush in the bathroom. Within a month, half the closet. Neither of them had officially discussed her moving in, but somewhere along the way, it had just happened. Lily had been thrilled. She'd helped Olivia organize her section of the closet and had taken to introducing her as my dad's girlfriend who lives with us, with the kind of pride that made Ryan's chest tight. The apartment was cramped now, too small for 3 people, but it was full in ways that mattered, full of laughter and debate and the comfortable chaos of shared life. Olivia's expensive art books sat next to Lily's chapter books on the shelf. Her coffee maker, a fancy thing that Ryan still didn't know how to operate, had replaced his ancient drip machine. Her presence had transformed the space from Ryan's apartment into their home. Ryan finished his walkthrough with Carol and headed home around 7, stopping at the grocery store to grab ingredients for dinner. Olivia was teaching Lily how to make pasta from scratch.
a project that had started as a fun weekend activity and had somehow become a weekly tradition. Ryan's job was to stay out of the way and provide moral support. When he walked into the apartment, flour covered every visible surface of the kitchen. Lily was wearing more of it than the counter, and Olivia had a streak of it across her cheek. They were both laughing at something, hands deep in dough, completely oblivious to the mess. "How's it going?" Ryan asked, setting down the groceries. "Great," Lily announced. "Olivia says we're making fettuccine tonight." "Attempting to make fettuccine," Olivia corrected. "The jury's still out on whether it's actually going to work." Ryan kissed Olivia hello, tasting flour, then kissed the top of Lily's head. "I have complete faith in both of you." "That's because you don't have to do the hard part," Olivia said, but she was smiling. They ate dinner at 8, the pasta slightly uneven but delicious, sauce that Olivia had made from a recipe her mother had taught her years ago. It was one of the few memories she'd shared about her mother, and Ryan had noticed that she only made it when she was feeling nostalgic. "Everything okay?" he asked quietly while Lily was in the bathroom washing her hands. Olivia nodded. "My father called today." Ryan set down his fork. In 6 months, Richard Bennett hadn't spoken to his daughter once. What did he say? That he saw an article about the foundation, about the community center opening soon. She pushed pasta around her plate. He said he was impressed with what I'd accomplished. That's good, isn't it? I don't know, maybe. He still thinks I made a mistake leaving Bennett Industries, but he admitted that what I'm doing now matters. Her eyes met Ryan's. He asked to meet for coffee. Are you going to? I think so. I'm still angry at him for how he handled everything, but he's my father, and I miss him. She reached across the table to take Ryan's hand. Is that stupid? No, it's human. Lily came back and they finished dinner talking about school and weekend plans and whether they should get a cat. Lily had been campaigning hard for a pet, and Ryan was seriously considering giving in. After Lily went to bed, Ryan and Olivia cleaned up the kitchen together, working in the comfortable silence of people who'd learned each other's rhythms. I'm proud of you, Ryan said, drying the last plate, for agreeing to see your father. I know that's not easy. I'm terrified he's going to try to talk me into coming back, rejoin the company, fix my mistake, all of that. And if he does, then I'll tell him no. This life I'm building with you, with the foundation, with Lily, it's mine. For the first time in my life, I'm making choices because I want to, not because someone expects me to. She turned to face him fully. I'm not giving that up for anyone. Ryan pulled her into his arms, feeling the truth of her words in the way she held him back. 6 months ago, she'd been terrified of judgment, of failure, of being anything other than perfect. Now she was covered in flour, living in a cramped apartment, running a nonprofit on passion and determination, and she'd never looked happier. I love you, he said into her hair. I love you too, even though your apartment is way too small for 3 people. Ryan laughed. Are you asking us to find a bigger place? Maybe. Would that be crazy? We've only been living together for 3 months. Officially, living together for 3 months. Unofficially, you moved in the day you brought that fancy coffee maker. Olivia pulled back to look at him. You noticed that? I notice everything about you. He kissed her softly. And yeah, we should probably find a bigger place. Lily's going to need her own bathroom soon, and you need actual closet space instead of half of mine. We could look this weekend. Just look, see what's out there. Sounds like a plan. They spent the rest of the evening on the couch, Olivia reviewing grant applications while Ryan sketched plans for the community center's outdoor space. It was mundane and perfect, the kind of quiet evening Ryan had learned to cherish. His phone buzzed around 10. A text from Marcus. Drinks tomorrow? Been too long. Ryan stared at the message. He and Marcus had barely spoken since the scandal broke. A few work emails, the occasional nod in the hallway, but the friendship had fractured under the weight of professional pressure. He typed back, yeah, time and place. Marcus's response came quickly. McGill's, 7 p.m. And bring Olivia if she's free. I owe her an apology. Ryan showed the message to Olivia, who looked surprised. He wants to apologize? Apparently. Do you want to go? Do you? She thought about it, then nodded. Yeah, I think I do. Marcus was your friend before all this. If there's a chance to fix that, we should take it. McGill's was a dive bar near the construction office, The kind of place with sticky floors and excellent wings and absolutely zero pretension. Ryan hadn't been there since before the scandal, and walking in felt like stepping into a time capsule. Marcus was already at a table in the back nursing a beer. He stood when he saw them approaching, looking genuinely nervous. "Hey, man," Ryan said. "Hey." Marcus looked at Olivia. "Thanks for coming. I wasn't sure you would." "Almost didn't," Olivia said honestly, "but Ryan said you were worth a second chance." "I don't know if I deserve one, but I appreciate it." Marcus gestured to the table. "Sit, please." I ordered wings. They sat, and for a few minutes, nobody spoke. Then Marcus took a deep breath. "I owe you both an apology. A real one. I bailed when things got hard, and that was cowardly. I was worried about my career, about what clients would think if they knew we were friends. But the truth is, I was also jealous." Ryan blinked. "Jealous? You walked away from the safe choice. You risked everything for something you believed in, someone you loved. And I've been playing it safe my entire life. Watching you two build this life together, seeing you actually happy instead of just comfortable, it made me realize how much I've settled." Marcus looked at Olivia. "And I took that out on you by ghosting Ryan when he needed support. That was wrong, and I'm sorry." Olivia studied him for a long moment. "Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I mean it. What you're doing with the foundation, I've been following it. The community center project, the other programs you're funding, that's real impact. That matters way more than anything we're doing at the firm." "It's not a competition," Olivia said. "The work you do matters too. Maybe. But it doesn't make me feel alive the way your work clearly does." Marcus turned to Ryan. "I miss you, man. I miss having you around, talking about more than just billable hours and client management. Can we fix this?" Ryan thought about the past 6 months, about who had stood by him and who had disappeared, about forgiveness and second chances, and the kind of friendships that were worth fighting for. "Yeah," he said, "we can fix this." The tension broke, and they spent the next 2 hours talking like they used to, easy and honest, the conversation flowing from work to life to everything in between. Marcus told them about the woman he'd been dating, a teacher he'd met at a coffee shop who challenged him in ways he wasn't used to. Olivia talked about the foundation's expansion plans. Ryan complained about permit delays at the community center. It felt normal, good, like coming home after being gone too long. When they left the bar around 10, Marcus pulled Ryan into a hug. "I'm glad we did this." "Me too. And seriously, if you ever need anything for the community center, materials, connections, whatever, let me know. I want to help. I might take you up on that." In the car on the way home, Olivia reached over and took Ryan's hand. "That was nice. Seeing you with your friend again." "Yeah, it was. I didn't realize how much I'd missed him until tonight. People make mistakes. What matters is whether they try to fix them." Ryan squeezed her hand. "Speaking of fixing mistakes, how'd coffee with your father go?" Olivia had met Richard for coffee that afternoon while Ryan was at the community center. She'd been nervous all morning, changing outfits 3 times before settling on jeans and a sweater. A deliberate choice to show him this was her life now, casual and real instead of performative. "It was weird," she admitted. He spent the first 10 minutes talking about Bennett Industries and how the merger is going. Then he asked about the foundation, and I could tell he'd actually done research. He knew the names of the programs we're funding, the number of families we're helping. That's something. He said he was proud of me, but then he also said he wished I'd found a way to do this work within Bennett Industries instead of walking away. She sighed. "I told him that wasn't possible, that the board would never have supported it, and he said maybe I didn't fight hard enough." Ryan's jaw tightened. "That's not fair." "No, it's not. But it's also how he sees the world. He thinks everything is a negotiation, that you can always find middle ground if you're strategic enough." She looked out the window at the passing streetlights. "I told him there's no middle ground between doing what's right and doing what's profitable. Sometimes you have to choose." "What did he say to that?" "He said I sound like my mother, and this time I thanked him." Olivia smiled slightly. "We left it at agreeing to disagree. He's not going to suddenly approve of my choices, and I'm not going to apologize for making them, but at least we're talking again." "That's progress." "Yeah. Small progress. But still." Back at the apartment, Lily was already asleep, sprawled across her bed with a book still open beside her. Ryan closed it carefully and pulled the covers up to her chin.
Olivia stood in the doorway watching, her expression soft. She asked me something this morning, Olivia said quietly as they headed to bed, before school. What? She asked if I was going to be her mom now. Ryan stopped mid-step. What did you say? I told her that I loved her like family, but that she already had a mom, even if that mom wasn't around. I said I was something different, someone who chose to be in her life because I wanted to be, not because I had to be. Olivia's voice wavered slightly. Was that okay? I didn't want to overstep. Ryan pulled her into his arms. That was perfect. Thank you for being honest with her. She seemed okay with it. She said having me was better than having a mom who didn't want to be there. Olivia's voice broke. How does a 7-year-old understand something like that? Because she's brilliant and resilient and has had to understand too much too soon. Ryan held her tighter. But she's also happy now. Because of you. Because you show up for her every single day. They stood there in the hallway, holding each other, until Olivia pulled back and wiped her eyes. Sorry, I don't know why that hit me so hard. Because you love her, and that means her pain hurts you too. Is this what parenting feels like all the time? Like your heart is just walking around outside your body, vulnerable to everything? Ryan smiled. Pretty much, yeah. How do you stand it? You just do. Because the alternative, not loving her, not being part of her life, that would hurt worse. Olivia nodded, then took his hand. Come on, let's go to bed. We've got house hunting tomorrow, and I need to be well rested to have opinions about countertops. They spent Saturday looking at apartments and small houses in neighborhoods with good schools and parks nearby. Nothing felt quite right, either too expensive or too far from Lily's school, or missing that indefinable something that made a place feel like home. Maybe we're being too picky, Olivia said after the 5th showing, sitting in Ryan's car outside a duplex that had been nice but unmemorable. Or maybe we're waiting for the right place. Ryan looked at his phone where their realtor had just texted another listing. One more? It just hit the market this morning. The house was in a neighborhood Ryan knew well, close to Lily's school, near the park where he'd first introduced Olivia to his daughter. It was small, a 2-bedroom bungalow with a postage stamp yard, but it had potential. The realtor met them at the front door. It needs work, she warned. Previous owners let it go a bit, but the bones are good, and the price reflects the condition. Inside, Ryan could see what she meant. The kitchen was outdated, the bathroom needed complete renovation, the floors were scratched and worn, but the layout was good, the natural light was beautiful, and there was something about the space that felt right. Olivia walked through slowly, running her hand along the walls, looking out the windows at the small backyard. Ryan watched her, trying to read her expression. What do you think? He asked. I think it's a disaster, she said. Then she smiled. I think it's perfect. Ryan laughed. Yeah? Yeah, it needs everything. New kitchen, new bathroom, refinished floors, fresh paint. But underneath all that, it's solid. It's real. She turned to him. We could fix it up together. Make it exactly what we want instead of settling for what someone else built. That would take months, maybe a year. So? We've got time. She walked over to him, taking both his hands. I want to build something with you, Ryan. Not just live in a house you rent or I buy. I want us to create this together. Ryan looked around the worn-down house, seeing past the damaged floors and outdated fixtures to what it could become. A home for the three of them. A place they'd built together from the ground up. Let's do it, he said. They made an offer that afternoon. 2 weeks later, it was accepted. The community center opened in late January, right on schedule despite the delays. Carol organized a ribbon-cutting ceremony on a Saturday morning, inviting the families who'd be moving into the upstairs units and everyone who'd contributed to making it happen. Ryan stood near the back, watching Olivia give a speech about community and second chances, and the power of people working together for something bigger than themselves. She'd come so far from the exhausted woman he'd met in the garden at Madison's engagement party. Now she stood in front of 100 people speaking passionately about work that mattered, looking confident and alive and completely herself. Lily was beside him, holding his hand. Olivia's really good at talking to people. She is. Do you think she's nervous? Probably, but she's doing it anyway. That's what brave looks like. Like you building the center even when people were being mean? Ryan looked down at his daughter. constantly surprised by her perception. Yeah, kind of like that. I'm proud of you, Daddy. And Olivia, too. Thanks, kiddo. That means a lot. After the speeches, people toured the space. Ryan walked through pointing out features to anyone who asked. The community kitchen designed for cooking classes. The childcare area with separate spaces for different age groups. The offices where Carol's staff could work without driving across the city. One of the families moving in, a single mother named Teresa with 3 kids, found him near the end of the tour. I just wanted to thank you, she said. My kids and I have been in temporary housing for 8 months. This place, it's going to change everything for us. Ryan felt his throat tighten. I'm just glad we could help. It's more than help, it's hope. She smiled. Thank you for seeing us, for caring enough to build this. After Teresa walked away, Ryan stood in the community room feeling the weight of what they'd accomplished. This wasn't a theoretical project or an investment portfolio. This was real people's lives getting better because a group of people had decided to care. Olivia found him standing there and slipped her hand into his. You okay? Yeah, just thinking about what this means. It means we're doing something right. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you for believing in this. In me. Always. They stood there watching families explore their new home, Lily playing with the other kids in the childcare area, the space filling with laughter and possibility. It wasn't perfect, nothing ever was, but it was real and meaningful and theirs. The house renovation took 8 months, exactly as predicted. Ryan handled most of the construction himself, working evenings and weekends, with Marcus and a rotating crew of volunteers helping with the bigger projects. Olivia threw herself into design decisions with the same intensity she brought to everything else, researching countertops and paint colors and flooring options like she was preparing for a board presentation. Lily helped where she could, mostly by picking out her room's color scheme. Purple walls with white trim, which Olivia painted while Ryan handled the more technical work. They moved in on a Saturday in September, exactly 1 year after their first official date at Maggie's Coffee House. The house still wasn't perfect. The bathroom tiles were slightly crooked. The kitchen cabinets didn't quite match. The backyard needed serious landscaping work that they kept putting off. But it was theirs. Every imperfection told a story. The crooked tile from when Ryan had rushed to finish before Lily's birthday party, the mismatched cabinets because they'd run out of budget and made do, the wild backyard because they decided playing with Lily was more important than perfect grass. Standing in their living room surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, Ryan felt something settle in his chest that had been unsettled for years. This was home. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Olivia appeared in the doorway carrying a box labeled kitchen stuff. Where do you want this? Anywhere there's counter space, which might be nowhere at this point. She laughed and set the box down. We own a house, an actual house. We do. That's terrifying. Little bit, yeah. She crossed to him, stepping over boxes, and wrapped her arms around his waist. I love you, Ryan Carter. Thank you for building this life with me. Thank you for being brave enough to choose it. They stood there holding each other while Lily called from her room asking if she could unpack her stuffed animals yet, while the house settled around them with creaks and groans, while their future stretched out uncertain and beautiful and completely their own. 2 months later, on a cold November evening, Ryan took Olivia back to the Sterling Hotel's rooftop terrace. She'd been confused when he suggested it, especially when he'd asked Jennifer to watch Lily for the evening. Why are we going there? You'll see. The rooftop looked different than it had 15 months ago. The string lights were still there, but the space was set up for a different event now. Ryan had made special arrangements with the hotel manager, a favor called in through Marcus, who apparently had connections everywhere. When they stepped onto the terrace, it was empty except for a small table set for 2, candles flickering in the evening breeze. Ryan, what is this? He led her to the table, his heart hammering. This is where we met. Right over there. He pointed to the corner where they'd nearly collided, 2 people hiding from a party neither wanted to attend. You looked exhausted and lost, and I was trying to escape my own life. I remember. I didn't know it then, but that moment changed everything. You changed everything. He took both her hands. You showed me what it looks like to be brave enough to burn down the life that looks perfect but feels empty, to build something real even when everyone says you're crazy. to choose love over fear. Olivia's eyes were filling with tears. Ryan, let me finish. He took a breath, trying to steady his voice. 15 months ago, I came to this rooftop to prove I'd moved on from my past. But I was really just going through the motions, checking boxes, surviving instead of living. And then I met you, and you reminded me what it feels like to actually be alive. He let go of her hands to reach into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. Olivia gasped, pressing her fingers to her mouth. I'm not perfect, Ryan continued, dropping to one knee. I'm a single father with a lot of baggage and a tendency to worry too much. Our house is still half finished, my career isn't exactly glamorous, and I burn pancakes more often than I'd like to admit. But I love you with everything I have. I love the way you make pasta with Lily. I love how seriously you take grant applications. I love that you chose hope over certainty, messiness over perfection, truth over performance. He opened the box, revealing a simple ring, not flashy or expensive, but thoughtful and real, like everything else they'd built together. Olivia Bennett, will you marry me? She was crying now, tears streaming down her face as she nodded. Yes. Yes, of course, yes. Ryan slipped the ring onto her finger, then stood and pulled her into his arms. She was laughing and crying at the same time, holding on to him like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. I can't believe you brought me back here, she said against his chest. It felt right, starting where we met. We've come so far since then. Yeah, we have. Ryan pulled back to look at her. And we've got so much further to go. They ate dinner on the rooftop, talking about wedding plans and whether Lily would want to be involved in the ceremony and how much longer they could put off landscaping the backyard. Normal things, mundane things, the kind of conversation Ryan had learned to treasure. When they got home, Lily was still awake despite Jennifer's best efforts. We have something to tell you, Olivia said, sitting on the edge of Lily's bed. Lily sat up, eyes wide. What? Ryan showed her the ring on Olivia's finger. We're getting married. Really? Lily looked between them. You're getting married for real? For real, Olivia confirmed. Lily threw her arms around Olivia's neck. I'm so happy. Does this mean you're officially staying forever? It means I'm officially staying forever. Good. Because I love you. And I want you to stay. Olivia hugged her back, crying again, and Ryan sat there watching his daughter and his future wife hold each other, feeling grateful for every hard moment that had led to this one. Later, after Lily finally fell asleep and they were getting ready for bed, Olivia caught sight of herself in the bathroom mirror. She stopped, staring at her reflection. What is it? Ryan asked. I look happy. She said it like it was a revelation. Actually happy. Not just pretending. Ryan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. You are happy. I spent so many years thinking happiness meant success and control and everyone's approval. But this, she gestured to their reflection, to the house around them, to the life they'd built. This messy, imperfect, real life makes me happier than anything I ever achieved before. Good, because it's only going to get messier. She laughed. I'm counting on it. They got married 4 months later in their backyard, surrounded by the people who'd supported them through everything. Jennifer and Marcus, Carol and her staff, the families from the community center, Lily in a purple dress she'd picked out herself. Richard and Eleanor Bennett attended, sitting in the back row, still uncertain about their daughter's choices, but present nonetheless. Olivia had invited them knowing they might not come, but they'd surprised her by showing up. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. The ceremony was simple, no formal vows, just honest words about choosing each other every day, about building a life on truth instead of performance, about being brave enough to love even when it's complicated. When Ryan kissed his bride, Lily cheered louder than anyone else, and the backyard, still not properly landscaped, still a work in progress, felt exactly right. At the reception, Carol pulled Ryan aside. The foundation is funding 3 new programs next quarter. Olivia didn't want to tell you yet, but I figured you should know. You're both changing lives here. Ryan looked across the yard to where Olivia was dancing with Lily, both of them laughing at something only they understood. She's the one doing the work. I'm just supporting her. You're doing more than that. You gave her permission to be herself. That's everything. Later, during their first dance,
Olivia rested her head on Ryan's shoulder. A year and a half ago, I was sitting in a boardroom being told my ideas were too emotional. Now I'm dancing in our backyard at our wedding, and I've never felt more certain about anything. Any regrets? She pulled back to look at him. Not a single one. You? Only that I didn't meet you sooner. We met exactly when we were supposed to. Any earlier, and we wouldn't have been ready for each other. Ryan knew she was right. 6 months before that engagement party, he'd still been chasing the ghost of his marriage, trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed. Olivia had been performing success instead of building it. They'd both needed to hit bottom before they could recognize what climbing back up actually looked like. As the sun set over their imperfect backyard and their chosen family celebrated around them, Ryan thought about everything that had led to this moment. The failed marriage and the betrayal, the scandal and the judgment, the late nights renovating a house and the early mornings planning a nonprofit. All the hard moments that had shaped them into people capable of building something real together. It hadn't been smooth. It hadn't been easy. But it had been worth it. Lily appeared at their side, tugging on Olivia's dress. Can I dance too? Olivia scooped her up without hesitation. Always. They danced together, the three of them, while the music played and the lights twinkled and the people who mattered most watched and smiled. It wasn't perfect. The yard was still a mess, the house still needed work, their families were still complicated, and the world still had opinions about their choices. But it was real. It was theirs. And that made it perfect enough. Because here's what Ryan had learned in the past year and a half. Perfection isn't about having everything look right. It's about building something authentic that can weather the storms. It's about choosing truth over performance, even when truth is messier and harder and comes with judgment. It's about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, and deciding that what you build together matters more than what anyone else thinks. Some people would always question their choices. Richard Bennett would probably never fully approve of Olivia walking away from the family business. The business world would keep telling stories about the CEO who threw it all away for love. There would always be someone ready to judge, to criticize, to tell them they should have done it differently. But standing in their backyard with Olivia in his arms and Lily between them, Ryan finally understood what his sister had tried to tell him all those months ago. When you find something worth fighting for, someone worth fighting for, you don't let other people's fears stop you. You don't hide or apologize or make yourself smaller to fit their expectations. You just keep showing up, keep building, keep choosing each other day after day in the small moments that nobody sees and the big moments that everyone judges. You choose the life that feels real over the life that looks good. And you trust that eventually, if you're brave enough and honest enough and stubborn enough, the real life becomes the good life too. Ryan held his wife and his daughter close as the stars came out above them, and he knew, bone deep, heart certain, that they'd made the right choice. All of them had,